All right, what's going on, YouTube, social media world? It's your boy AnonymousBased, and I am back with another episode of the Oxide Station podcast, and I'm on here with three extra panelists. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, okay. I want to welcome everybody to another fire episode of the Oxide Station podcast. So, quick announcements before we get into the show. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and give this stream a like, share with a couple of your friends. Make sure you follow me on all my social media sites. And if you got something specific or if you want to join the panel, we're going to open it up pretty soon. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I got three guys on the panel with me so far. And we're gonna go ahead and introduce the panelists. So we're gonna go ahead and start with Tizzle Mode, and then we're gonna go to Mark, and then we're gonna go to Coley D, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into the show. So without further ado, we're gonna start with you. Tizzle Mode, you got it.
All right, so hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody that's watching. My name is Alante. As you may know, I go by the stage name or producer name Tizzle Mode on YouTube. I've been starting YouTube since 2016. I forgot the recent month, but I know I started since I was like 12 years old. And at first, I wasn't really making beats. I kind of had a hard time figuring out like what to do, but I just know like once I grew up, like I just knew I like to multitask, and then sometimes I get sidetracked from doing one thing to another, and it's kind of like, you know, plus me having ADHD, you know, I always try to figure out like what can I make as a hobby and what can I make something that's fun. And like as I got through like school years, I used to hear producers like Winston, Marta Mark Exclusive, and another one named Young Jada Prince. They all go crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you ain't never heard none of their beats, check them out as well. And then like a few years after that, I got introduced to Jerron Neal and also to Coley D and the rest of the members who I'm with officially in the chat.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's how I pretty much got to where I got to now. First, my name used to be Tate Tizzle, DOA Tizzle Mode, but then I kind of switched it because it was like too long and whatever. So,
okay. All right,
yeah.
Cool. All right, next up, it's on you, Mr. Mark. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Hi. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me here on this podcast. And my name's Mark Fowler. I'm just a simple Englishman. I'm here today to bring a new and different perspective when it comes to the idea of the subject of today's topic, which is free speech. And I think that as somebody who experiences lots of cancel culture, lots of, various problems over here in the UK, which we'll discuss later on down the line.
Okay.
I just feel like I can bring a really good perspective here. Look, I worked in the health and social care industry for 12 years. I've got credentials, and I think that a lot of what I learned in that field can bring a real different angle to today's topic.
Okay.
So thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, no problem, brother. All right, next up.
Man, it's been a long time since I've been waiting to say this. What's up, everybody? This is Coley D, founder of Coley D Studios. Glad to be a part of this podcast. You know, I am originally from North Carolina. Any
Yes,
UNC
sir.
fans up in
Yes,
here?
sir.
Anybody who is a UNC fan up in here, stand up. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
this topic is going to be lit today because there's so much stuff that went on in the news the past week and a half. Yeah, I'm ready to get this joint off my chest. But
Yep.
yeah,
Man, for real.
huge honor to be a part of your podcast, Anonymous, because you know
Yes,
we go
sir.
way
Yes,
back.
sir.
Well, I helped you shoot a music video once, and that
Yep.
joint was lit. So,
Okay.
so
That's
yeah,
pretty tough.
very honored to be in here. Hey, let's do it.
All right. So now that we're done with the introductions, we're gonna go ahead and start off with an icebreaker. So we're gonna react to a video that's kind of along the lines of what the main topic is gonna be. It's kind of centered around free speech, but we're gonna go ahead and react to an icebreaker video, and then we're gonna keep it pushing from there. So y'all ready?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
All right.
Let's
This
go.
morning, the FBI released photos of a person of interest in connection with the assassination. They say they recovered a rifle that may have been used to kill Kirk. His assassination sparked a lot of inappropriate comments online, and some school districts across Texas are now taking action against their employees over those posts. In Waco, a student teacher from Midway ISD has been removed from her position. Our sister station in Temple reports that student teacher, who graduated from Baylor University, reportedly left a now deleted comment under a post covering Kirk's death that read, quote, "This made me giggle," end quote. Baylor University issued a statement following the student teacher's removal, writing in part, quote, "To make light of the death of a fellow human being is completely inappropriate and completely counter to Baylor's Christian mission," end quote. Two Houston area school districts are also denouncing comments reportedly made by their employees after Kirk's death. Pasadena ISD issued a statement last night, writing it was aware of insensitive comments made by a district employee. And according to the Houston Chronicle, a teacher from Goose Creek CISD is facing online backlash, including an online campaign to fire her regarding a comment she reportedly made on Facebook, calling Kirk's death the consequences of his actions.
All right. All right. So now that we've seen the video, it poses a question, and it reads: due to the teachers getting fired for their comments and deleting them, is there a time and place for free speech? I'll go ahead and start with you, Sizzle.
Ooh.
Due to the teachers getting fired for their comments and deleting them, is there a time and place for free speech? What you got?
I'm gonna keep it 100. I feel like it definitely is. I guess I don't really say that because I got raised by like parents that were like be on some stuff like, you got to be careful, I guess, of what you say, or you got to be careful with what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, everybody, entitled to their opinion. I mean, some people, think this, some people think that, but I just think that like in the world we in, it's a lot of crazy people out here, and it's like sometimes you should be careful like what you say, especially like around somebody, because like it's been like a hell of a year has been for 2025. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. All right. All right, Mark, what you got, brother?
Well, it gets me thinking about the difference between like free speech absolutism. So like if you're a free speech absolutist, then you would argue that you should be able to say anything without any fear of consequence. But unfortunately, in today's era, we now have to deal with people online, who are inciting hatred and inciting violence, I think. So how do we go about managing that? That's the big problem, isn't it? Like, I think that a lot of it comes down to teaching youngsters not to fear words, not to be so easily manipulated by words, and I feel like, unfortunately, some people are easily manipulated, and so therefore, they're more likely to be, radicalized by people that have platforms of free speech. I think it comes down to responsibility, and I think that we need to lead by example. But I am very much a free speech absolutist. I think that people should be able to say whatever they want, Obviously, there are certain things that you shouldn't say, but that's down to the individual.
Okay, cool. So let me ask you a question then. So if you're saying that people are leveraging speech online and they're radicalizing and manipulating people, then what would you consider it if a person is leveraging their free speech and their platform to issue out positive words and then people act based on those positive words? Would you consider that manipulation too?
No, I don't. I mean, inherently, I feel like deep in my core, in my roots, I've got my own belief systems. And I think that there are certain values out there that I would call inherently good. Certain religions I find inherently good. Certain teachings I personally might find inherently bad. Yet, that's my perspective, isn't it? Now, what I might see as good, you might not see as good. So I think that it's a difficult one, isn't it? Now, there are things that are inherently good and inherently bad. For example, going around and saying, for example, collectively getting a group of people together and telling them to go and, cause damage somewhere out there. Well, that's inherently bad. That's literally inciting violence. So we do have laws. We do have laws to prevent these types of behaviors. We've learned from the past that we shouldn't, we should, but I do have very much of a Christian type standpoint or when it comes to freedom of speech.
Okay, so if I tell you something, whether it's good or bad, and you choose to act on what I tell you, did I manipulate you with my free speech? Or did you act out of
No,
your...
no. I don't think so. I think it always stems, the responsibility always comes back to the person who acted. Okay. So I don't think that the person who has spoken is necessarily responsible. Okay. I honestly don't. I think the person who acts is the responsible one, the person to be held to account. Okay. I'm just talking from a very nuanced perspective where I'm trying to express that in today's era, with the emergence of so much online, let's call like occultism, there is a lot of danger that we have to be very aware of. But fundamentally, I'm a free speech absolutist.
Okay, cool. All right, so Mr. Coley, what you got, brother? Due to the teachers getting fired for their comments and deleting them, is there a time and place for free speech? What you got?
Ooh, man. I ain't gonna lie. You know me. I I absolutely totally believe in free speech. Absolutely 100. Howsoever, see, this is where I have to show my age a little bit. I hate to say this, but I do.
No,
Um,
you got it.
I'm born in an era where we said whatever came up out of wherever leave these lips, and and we took it with a grain of salt. So it could be a huge insulting joke, and we had to take it. These days and times, yes, we do have to. Yes, you do have to make sure that we say it at the right time or whatnot. Like, and the reason being is because the way today's society is. I mean, you seen what I mean. You seen what happened to CBS and ABC. over the past couple of weeks. one of them got Kimmel got yanked off there quick because of what he said about Kirk, and then we had CBS about to be yanked off the air in May of next year because what he said about the Paramount Skydance merger or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I feel like in this particular situation with Charlie Kirk, if you're that type of cold person to say something about somebody's death, keep that to yourself. Don't post that joint on social media. Like because like what if the shoe was on the other foot? What if there was someone you knew? What if there was someone that you loved personally or whatever? Or what if there was someone that you worked with in passing that you had no problems with or whatnot? Like would you want someone to say something very rude about that person to you? Or do you want someone to see that on social media? I would think not. Like
Well, hold on. Well, wait a minute. So, if the general sentiment is that you support free speech, then how can you regulate a person's free speech when speaking on something or like speaking on a person dying or something? Do you then regulate it? Because if you regulate it, do you really support free speech?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I support it. What I'm saying, but what I'm saying is to answer your question, it's only yeah, it's a time and a place because it's like, you know, if I go on social media and I post up, hey, I'm glad, or I'm glad such and such died and this, that, and the third, and blah 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 blah. You
Uh
know,
huh.
like that will raise up so much fire against people and stuff like that. Now, did they have the right to say it? Yeah. And did they have the right to say it? Yes. But is it but it's the severity of it. But it's the severity of it. You're going to get backlash. Oh yes, it is. That's why like the way that I roll, yeah, I have my free speech, but I always come to other people with respect and everything. Now if I have a bad thought to say to some people, I just keep it to myself because I was raised that if you don't got nothing nice to say about someone, don't say anything at all. I'm not that type of confrontational type of person unless you make me that confrontational type of person. Only then that's when the floodgates gets released, and then you're gonna hear what I have to say.
Okay.
Uncensored,
Okay.
all
Okay.
that.
So, based on the question, is there a time and place for free speech? And if so, give an example.
Like
Anybody can answer that.
Look, I think there's always a time and space for free speech and freedom of expression. Sorry, I'm not sure your people's names. I forget, but like your last guest just said a minute ago, there's always consequences, isn't there? Society knows what is right and wrong, surely, and it's all about teaching people what is right and wrong. Now, we've got like a place in London called Free Speech Corner, which is quite renowned for being a place to go. And people should be able to say anything they like without fear of ridicule, ramification, or, violence. And I think it comes down to there's always a place for free speech and there's always a place for freedom of expression. The problem is it comes down to individual responsibility and whether they're willing to take on the consequences and the ramifications that may occur afterwards. Now, going back to the Charlie Kirk thing, some people might argue the same thing on the left. They might say, well, that was the ramification of free speech. But I think there's also ramifications of expression. So that's quite important, I think, to note from my opinion.
You're not lying. I think 100% true. Like I agree on that. I feel like I feel like as well because like it's crazy because like I'm not gonna say the name, but like it's somebody who I'm close with at the
Mhm.
moment, and like we kind of was like having a talk about the situation, and like it's not nothing bad, but it just we like what first she brought up to me, and she was kind of like like it's a terrible situation, but like she kind of said at the same time, like, what about, the school shootings that happened and, the kids is gone, or what about, other deaths that went on? And, you know, it's just like, I kind of thought about it as like, they didn't really find that really important because it was really less of important, if that makes sense. But like, since it's like him and like, you know, he's somehow Christian and he got his own beliefs and all that. And, he kind of went out by his own opinion, I don't know. I think it's not really the same. I feel like it's like absolutely different. Like I just feel like in today's society, like it's crazy. It's so ridiculous. Like it's all in between. Like it's like to a point you don't know like what to say if it's right or wrong. Like you get what I mean? Like for so like how can I explain that for example? All right, so say like you with some family members, right? And say like I don't know, it's like a cousin or a sister you don't like, and I guess you say some shit about them next to your cousin or your mom and dad, and that motherfucker you don't like overhear what you just said. Now, all the time, you don't know what they capable of. They might let it slide, they might brush it off, or they might be on some shit as we call in today's society. They might turn into a crash out, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to sound like bogus or whatever, but I'm just saying like you never know how people could get or what they're capable of, and it should just be like you should just be careful what you say, or you should just be careful with like what you said at. It's kind of like almost an example of like you could be at the right place at the right time, or sometimes you could be at the right place at the wrong time, or it could be both, like wrong place at the wrong time. And unfortunately, it happens like that. Like it's like sometimes you can't escape death in some situations, like
Yeah, I get that, but I guess what I'm really trying to get to is if we all agree, because I agree with us having free speech too. But see, my whole take on it, I'll give my take on it. I support free speech 100% through and through. Now, where I believe in having limitations of free speech is when it comes to calls of action. Like, let's say you're in a library or something, and then you yell something out like, "Oh, it's a fire," or you yell something out, and it alerts people, and it triggers people to be in a fight or flight response. I think
right.
Right.
that is where we need to have limitations. But
It remind me.
everything else, I'm cool with it. So with that being said, with the exception of calls to action, how do you determine if free speech has a right place or a right time? How do you determine that? Because you could say something online that I disagree with, but if I tell you, hey, you shouldn't be saying that, it's not the right time. Well, in your mind, you felt that it was the right place and the right time, which is why you exercised it. So then who would I be to tell you that's not the right place or the right time? How do you determine the right place and the right time? How do you do it?
Who do you want to go first? Who's going first?
Well, this is what I think. Like me, like if it's something that's opinionated, and most people can tell when something is opinionated and what is fact or whatever, right?
Yep.
If something is opinionated and then we have a little debate or maybe even a squabble over it or whatnot, at the end of the day, we just agree to disagree, and then we move on to the next, and then we move on to the next thing. Like that, like that. That's the way that I would do it because, like, like opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just agree to disagree. And then we move on to whatever other topic that we have, whatnot. But like, if it's like a fact, and you know for sure about this fact and stuff like that, and then that person keeps arguing with you about that fact, then yeah, then that's when you have to be like, hey, look, bro, they're actually saying this or whatever, and here's the link. You know what I'm saying? Or here's this to prove it, and this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but
Well, I got, if
yeah,
I may,
but how do you
I
determine
got.
a right place and a right time for free speech though? Like how do you gauge that?
like, okay, like for
That's what I want. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
okay, like for example, say like, okay, say like, I'm gonna be a little petty here for a second.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Say like you know for sure that friend A is cheating with friend A is cheating with the person that he's dating with friend B, and you know all about this,
Okay.
but it's really but you know the the retrospect that I go by is like, you know, if it's not your place to say anything, then you stay out of it, right? Like once they all meet up, once they all meet up and get caught up, then then like you go in your head like, should you jump in and you say something about it, or do you go ahead and let all of that unfurl out on its own? And then if a fight happens, then you just jump in and break it up, you know,
Okay.
like
You
that.
know what? You know what? Let's test that. Let's run a scenario where I'm the one that's getting cheated on. You know about it, but you
Uh
choose not to say something. I find out later, and then a whole bunch of chaos breaks out. But then I find out later that you knew about it. I'm gonna ask you, well, if you knew about it, why didn't you tell me?
Or
huh.
I feel like you probably gonna think about like, was you cheating? Like, was you with her too? Like, I feel like I don't know if it's just me. I probably would think like that. I
You
don't
see what
know.
I'm saying?
Mm. Right,
Yeah.
right,
So because
and I see where y'all two are going with that.
yeah, so
I,
I could come to you and say, well, if you knew about it, why didn't you tell me?
hmm,
But
right.
then your
Well,
defense would be,
my
I,
response.
I don't think it was my place. But then I would counter and say, well,
Right.
if you're my homeboy, you would come and let me know, regardless.
So in other words, it is your place.
Hmm,
Like if you found out,
right.
it's
Yeah,
kind of like.
At the same time, though,
man,
at the
I've
same
got so much
time,
to
wait a
say
minute.
about that.
At
I've
the
got
same,
so much
at
to
the
say
same
about that.
time,
Yeah.
though.
First of all,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Go
I
ahead,
think
Marcus.
you've got a right to silence, yeah? So freedom of speech and freedom of expression also involves and includes the right not to express and not to say anything, okay?
True.
So first of all, we have to touch on that, right? But also I think it comes down to defining words and definitions. So for example, yeah, what is inciting hate and inciting violence, right? If I turn around and say fight for freedom, you know, if you're like somebody who likes to twist words and manipulate things, you're going to turn around and say, oh, well, he said fight, so therefore he's inciting violence. And I would say,
Right.
no, we have to have clear definitions of what inciting violence actually is and what inciting hatred actually is. So I think, like, for example, like, you know, you can't hold a person responsible for saying or not saying something and then turning around and saying, oh, you see that person 5 people down the line? Well, that person acted out of fear and hatred and did something bad. Oh, let's trail it back to somebody that said something before or didn't say something before. I don't think that's the point. I think it all comes down to personal, individual responsibility. And I think we need to have quite clear definitions, really, of what words are encouraging people to
I
actually
was
do bad things. That's what I think. Personally,
I was just
sorry,
about to
I
say
needed to
that.
get that off my chest.
Okay,
That,
Oh,
yeah,
you good?
you got it. So
that's a good. That's a good point.
okay, so I'm gonna ask you the question. When is the right time and place for free speech?
Well, look, I don't think there is any right or wrong time for free speech. I think that people should be expressing their freedom of speech and their freedom of expression all of the time, you know, but they should be doing it in a very reasonable and responsible way, you know, and it comes down to teaching people to behave correctly, you know, curtail your tongue. There's lots of things that I could say, you know, But do you know why I don't say them? I choose not to say them. It's a personal responsibility because I know that it might hurt somebody's feelings. I know that it might not make them feel nice, you know? So I choose, right, to be responsible with my tongue. And I think that's what it comes down to. That's what freedom of speech should be about. Unfortunately, people manipulate freedom of speech for political reasons to incite violence and hatred. And those people should be monitored and they should be dealt with accordingly, according to definitions and laws. That's what I think.
For real.
Okay. So, because I listen very closely. So you started your statement by saying that you don't think there really is you don't think there should be or there is a right time or place. But due to the video that we just reacted to, teachers got let go because of the free speech. So
And you know what?
So somebody else felt that it wasn't the right time or place, and they got a consequence as a result of it. So then we're kind of contradicting ourselves and being disingenuous.
Kind of.
If we
kind
say
of.
we believe in free speech,
No fight react.
but then somebody else but we're okay with having consequences because of it.
Sure. Okay, that's correct. I do think that people are right. So you're correct. Okay, you're correct. I agree that when you work in areas of profession, certainly within the education system, right? But this is the whole point. It goes back to what I said a minute ago. There should be laws in place to quite clearly state that if you're in a position of education and you're, you know, trying to educate the minds of the next generation, you leave your political opinions and biases to one side. There should be like a non-biased approach to the education system, which should be enshrined in law. And I'm pretty sure it is, you know, I'm pretty sure it already is. We've got like things like, you know, child protection acts, you know, protecting children from certain acts of speech, and that should apply to the education system. So I think for the most part, out in general public and society, people should be able to say and feel and express themselves as they like. As soon as you start going into professional areas such as the healthcare industry or the education system, then you have a different set of rules that should apply, which means that you're not allowed to espouse political beliefs and viewpoints onto the young, fragile minds of young children. That's what I think.
Well, watch this though. So we could all sit here and agree on that point, but here is where you have to see it play out in practice, because I think it sounds good in theory, but it falls apart in practice. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of us agree that the powers that be and the mainstream media is pushing a certain type of agenda on the children, as far as convincing them that they're transgender and all this other type of stuff. The powers that be and Western society is leveraging free speech and putting a bunch of bad information in these children's minds, and they're going with it. Now, the people that support it, they think that they're in the right and that we're the ones that's wrong. They'll tell us, well, who are you to regulate my free speech and what I tell to my kids? But we are trying to regulate their free speech of what they do to their kids. So it becomes a back and forth between, we don't think that that's the right time and place for you to be sharing that information, but on their side, they think that it is the right time and place. So that's why I say,
situation.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I say, how do you regulate or define a right time and place for speech? How do you do that?
You asking me again? Look, I don't want to hold up everyone because I want to give other people opportunities as well. One thing I want to say quickly, I think it comes down to curriculum, you know?
Okay.
I think it comes down to monitoring and establishing a real solid curriculum. So look, I understand what you're saying. Now, who is right and who is wrong to say that? But the way that I see it, when it comes to education and schooling, is that there should be a very solid curriculum, which should involve mathematics. It should involve basic English studies. It should involve history, you know, and it should always be non-biased. As soon as you start crossing the lines of bias ideologies, you know, saying, oh, I've got this ideology that I want to promote, or that ideology that I want to promote. It should not be allowed to be within the curriculum, and any teacher falling outside of that curriculum should be held to account. That's what I think. I keep saying that's what I think at the end of every sentence, but yeah.
Okay, so because I know you noticed that we're having like a little bit of a back and forth because we're just bouncing ideas, right? And what I notice a lot is that people in general, not you guys on the panel, but people in general, they have their own internalized parameters and guidelines for how free speech should be operated.
Right.
So that in and of itself means that every single one of us has a bias when it comes to free speech. Now, we all agree and support the idea of free speech, but deep down inside of our brains, we all have individual parameters and guidelines. So I'm asking, well, how do you clearly define a right place or a right time for free speech? Like, there's no way for you to do that.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Well, if
I
there is,
agree
I'm
with
asking how.
I agree with what Mark said earlier in the comment when he said
Uh-huh.
there's really no way that we can actually regulate it, because if you think about it, we all agree that our First Amendment rights shouldn't be revoked or
Yeah, it
modified or
shouldn't be
anything like
infringed
that.
upon.
But at the same time, that thing is complicated. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Watch this. See, when I gave my perspective on it, I agree with free speech all the way through, but I gave a very
right,
specific parameter into which it should be regulated when it comes to a call to action. Like if you're inside of a building and you yell fire and it freaks people out, when you say something that triggers a person's fight or flight response or like a generalized group of people, that's when I think that there should be consequences because you're misusing it and you could be putting
right,
a multitude of people's lives in danger.
right.
I was gonna
Absolutely.
say something about that earlier. I was gonna say it remind me.
I gave an example of a right time and a right place, and we do have ways of regulating it. That's why there's laws against it, and people can get locked up for that.
I was gonna say it kind of remind me of like when I see some YouTubers, they be having like they be hiring these cameramans to like do like the off the wall shit on YouTube. And they be in public, they just be doing like some off the wall shit. Like it was
Yeah.
literally one I seen on TikTok. Dude went to this gun shop and dude was like, he was like, can I see this gun? And dude was like, sure. And dude I know was like, get on the fucking ground and like,
Wow.
like literally. And dude was like, whoa, hey. He was like, that's one way you can get yourself shot. And I like, you got to think about it. It's like you said earlier, you got to think about it. Like, how can you define right place, right time? Well, he didn't do that at the right time. He literally did that in front of everybody. Now, maybe if he did that in front of like a private space, like maybe his apartment or something, I don't know, a gun shop or something. But I mean, that still wouldn't work out. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, he did it in front of people that's in public, and like it could put people
Mhm.
in danger. And they could get a reaction out of them. Like people could be having their hands down like this, like because they don't want to die. So
Right.
Yeah.
Just like that's a good segue that you put there. Like, I don't think anybody's words, I don't care how severe they are, and let's just face it, Charlie Kirk is a very controversial person with what he says, right?
Okay.
No, nobody's words is that harsh enough to where you want to sit here and you want to murk somebody over it. You know what I'm saying? Or as these kids would say nowadays, unalive somebody
man,
over and whatnot. Like, you
man.
did not only, because from what I understand, not only did that person did that to Charlie Kirk in front of a bunch of people where you could have harmed somebody or multiple people over whatever he said, but that joint was aired out live on Instagram, from what I understand. There
Oh
was some
yeah,
there was some people there's a lot of people that are
it
off of
was
Instagram right now because of this.
it was on Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Like they have to delete some of the footage on TikTok because that's what everybody and their mama was searching. Like it was crazy. Like
Wow.
what made it even more sadder though, supposedly I heard that his kids and his wife was there doing the stuff when it happened.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
like,
heard too, allegedly.
yeah.
All right. Well, real quick, I'm gonna read a chat that just came in from Amber Smith. Shout out to you. She says, "I believe in free speech anytime, but if you're gonna say something, you better be prepared for the consequences." Okay, so
Oh, that's a
but
good
see,
one.
watch this though. Watch this though. If a person needs to be prepared for the consequences, then that means that there should be a right time and a right place.
Okay.
So that means if there's a right time and a right place, that means the free speech isn't really free. There's these invisible barriers and mazes and labyrinths that are set up in place that govern and dictate the free speech. So is it really free?
That's
Oh
a good one.
man, that's a damn good one.
I was gonna say ain't not free. You feel me? These weren't free. Shout out to Tipple Hoyt though. You feel me?
Yeah. Shout out to Chips Ahoy.
Cinnamon bun. You feel me? Best flavor. And I got this Oreo flavor called apple pie Alamo. This joint tough. I'm not gonna lie. If you're
What?
apple pie fan, yes.
Sir, this is not the right time or place for you to be leveraging your free speech to talk about put the snacks away.
You right, my bad.
I'm just playing. I'm just joking. Nah, you got it, bro. You good.
That's crazy. I didn't know they made that type of flavor of Oreo stuff. I mean,
No, I didn't know.
Go and speak.
I didn't know
I was muted.
Right.
No, I was going to say, right. I think there's always like I get what you're saying, a right and a wrong time to say something. Yeah, there's always a right and a wrong time to say something, and I think society determines what is right and wrong. Like we do it over time through society, through trial and error. For example, I know what I should and what I should not say. Now, somebody else might disagree, and they might push their limits of free speech. But you FA and you FO. You get what I'm saying? So, like your commenter said a minute ago, you know.
You can say, hey, you can say the whole phrase. You don't have to edit.
Well, look, I even curtail my tongue. This is what I'm saying. Look, I'm very politically correct in the way that I articulate myself, yeah, because the way I've been trained to do so. Because I know that I could use stronger words. I know I can say "fuck around and find out." It's
there
fine.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but,
sir.
well, that's
He'll be saying that
you hear what I'm saying?
Me?
Yeah. But the whole point is, I think that people should just be responsible in the way they say it. That's all it comes down to. So, like, you're talking about the right time and place to say something. Now, look, I support the right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, as long as it doesn't lead to violence. We've got very clear laws when it comes to violence, clear laws. And like I say, as soon as people step over the line, society will determine who was right and wrong over time. And also we got a democratic responsibility to ensure that we can speak open and freely, because if we don't, then we're going to only then lead into like an anarchy type society where people are just expressing themselves through violence because they're not able to speak and express themselves properly.
Yeah, but watch this though. This is something that y'all didn't think about. So when it comes to the idea of free speech, there's laws in place that govern certain things. But watch this. The people that come up with these laws and these regulations, they're leveraging their freedom of expression and having discussions kind of like this to where they can come to a solid conclusion before they draft up a law. They vote on it. They're leveraging their freedom of speech and expression to try to come to a conclusion. And they say, you know what? We've determined that this is right for the people, and this is the guidelines that's going to govern the land. So is it really free?
That part.
Somebody else is moving the pieces on the chessboard. So is it really free, or is it free within the confines of what somebody else thinks?
I think that's a good question.
He just cooked. You feel me? He just cooked. He just cooked some eggs, some ham, everything. You feel me?
Man, that's an aspect of free speech that people don't consider. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's the word.
Yeah, no, I think we do. I think we
Yeah.
do. I think people do consider it. It's just that, like, we have got like the the power of the majority. I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Freedom of speech can be used and manipulated as a political weapon. You know, we've got like linguistics. We've got like political warfare. We've got the concept of fifth generation warfare, where loaded language is used to shape and manipulate minds of people. Of course
Yeah.
they are. It's just the nature of the beast. I think it's the nature of the beast, yeah. But as soon as we start curtailing people's voices and start curtailing people's freedom of speech, especially, you know, the average working person, the average person on the streets, they're the ones that need to be heard the most. You know, the people in places of political power, what they're doing is, at the moment, is they're currently silencing dissenting voices. So they're using the power of language to curtail freedom of speech and expression to the people that actually need it the most. So I'm in full agreement of what you're saying, but this is the whole concept of what I would call fifth generation warfare, where we talk about loaded language, soft power, and propaganda and political warfare. So that takes it down a whole new route, I suppose.
Okay.
That
Okay.
political warfare ain't no joke, for real.
Nah, for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. But if we're being logically consistent, the use of propaganda is a form of free speech and freedom of expression, at least in the U.S. Now, I can't really speak for communist countries like China or North
Yeah.
Korea because they don't have the same rights and privileges that we do. So over in those countries, like in communist nations, their speech is restricted. Like they're told what they can and can't talk about. You see what I'm saying? So in
I
countries like
do.
It
China
kind of
and Korea, they're not allowed to speak ill of their leaders. But over here in America, and at least I think in England, you are.
you know what it kind of remind you of a little bit.
You said what?
I say no, it kind of remind you of a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
Hollywood.
Ha yeah. Exactly.
Am I lying though? I mean, you gotta
Nope.
think about
So
it.
so would
Like,
you say that? So would you say that Hollywood as a whole is a communist entity?
In certain ways, I think it would be.
Mm,
yeah,
Think about, okay. Let's compare that to Las Vegas for a second. You
okay.
know what they say. What goes on in Vegas stays
stay
in
in
Vegas,
Vegas.
right?
Everything's
Like,
legal over there,
For real.
just like in Amsterdam.
see, so but like in Hollywood, like we hear the rumors, like the famous George Lucas thing, like in order to get into a George Lucas movie, what you got to do? You gotta do something with the creator, right? And no, we ain't talking about drawing no piece of art either. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things in Hollywood that they'll tell actors or actresses that you cannot say outside of Hollywood or whatever, but somehow, some way, you end up on the E2 Hollywood story for about 90 minutes, and they talking about everything that happened, and they end up finding out what happened that you couldn't say or do.
Right, because they weren't supposed to say it in the beginning, but they somehow slipped up and said, you know, that kind of remind me of. I remember that. I'm so glad we talking about this. I know y'all remember the later OG Tupac Shakur. So I forgot what YouTube it was, but he was talking about how supposedly. Well, I didn't know that Tupac was finna be in Star Wars. I forgot which one, but supposedly he didn't do that, and he was supposed to be in Minister Society. He was supposed
Oh,
to play the
really?
yeah,
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 I
yeah,
found
yeah,
that out
yeah, yeah.
too.
For yeah. So he was supposed to play as
Well, I heard
Kang.
about him supposed to be in Menace to Society, but he turned it down or something like that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
hold on, but hold on. You don't. I mean, what allegedly they say.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
say
yeah.
they say the reason why he didn't get it. What they said supposedly he got it, but I guess they took him out because the directors, which I think they named the Russo brothers or something, I guess he got into a little scuffle or a little argument or beef with them or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to take him out. And then I think he was like on some MTV show or something like that. He was saying something, but he wound up talking a little bit too much and was talking about the incident that he beat one of the Russo brothers up, and that somehow,
I think I had heard something about that.
yeah,
I
see,
think I
yep,
heard
you,
something about
yeah,
that.
yeah, you
I
might
mean, I
exactly
didn't
know
really
what I'm
look
talking
into
about.
it, but I think I had heard about it.
Yeah, but it's just like one of them examples though. Like you got to know what to say and what not to say at the right place or the right time. You know what I mean? Like, cause it's like, dang, like
So
that's. I mean,
so then by that logic alone, then we can't really say that free speech is free, and we can't really claim to be free speech absolutists if we also agree that there's a right time and a right place. That's what I'm saying. It's contradictory. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And it's not like we're doing it on purpose. It's a subconscious thing, right?
right,
Because if I don't agree with what you say, then I could turn around and say, well, you shouldn't be saying that. But you could double back to me and say, well, it's my First Amendment right. I can say what I want, and
right.
you can't tell me nothing.
What's crazy though? Tupac had that same energy. What you just said.
Uh-huh.
When he did that confront, and I think he had like 2-3 people behind him. They was trying to tell him like you need to like cut down what you saying, but he just kept going, and it was like the damage was already done. They had evidence against him what he said, and I think supposedly they said the Russo brothers sued him or something like that. I think
Mm-hmm.
so. It's just one of those things. Like I said,
Yeah, Amber, she comes back and she says it's free with limitations. Yeah, see,
Amber, see
true,
my sign.
Free with
true,
limitation.
true.
no,
That is true.
but think about it. Free speech,
Sure.
but us placing limitations on it, it's an oxymoron.
Sure. Look, I don't disagree. Look, I think you're onto something, yeah? I don't disagree with what you're saying. When I say I'm a free speech absolutist, I say that very like openly, as in, for the most part, I think that people should be allowed to express themselves. But yeah, I do think you're right. I think there should be certain places and certain like job places where you shouldn't be able to. For example, if you're working for, like, I don't know, military defense, the defense of your country, should you be allowed to come out and just speak your mind? Of course not, because you get, like, what do they call it? Non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that. There are obviously going to be limitations. There are going to be certain things that are signed up in contract. But I think that's completely different to when it comes to limitations of freedom of speech and expression. It comes down to the venue and your profession and what you're doing. So I get what you're saying, but I think yeah.
Me being former military, you're absolutely right.
So then what? Okay, so then what that really boils down to is, depending on the establishment and the structure that you're under, whoever is in charge is the one that sets the tone for everything.
Sure, but this is the nature of the circle of life. I think whoever's in power will always dictate the narrative, yeah? Whether we like it or not. You can go to any country, right? And you're always going to be propagandized by their, what do you call it, cultural hegemony. What you were talking about earlier with movies and Hollywood. Yes, they do like hold, like put the top of the podium when it comes to cultural hegemony. But the reason I don't complain is because they haven't really brought me any pain or suffering. I've enjoyed watching Disney movies throughout my life, and I didn't sit there and think, oh, do you know what? I'm going to be radicalized by it. You know what I mean? At least the people in charge acting kind of responsibly, or they used to be, certainly. I think at the moment now they're using things very irresponsibly. So I think cultural hegemony can be used for both good or bad, depending on who's in power. But it's just the nature of the beast. Whoever's in charge will always write the narrative.
Yeah, hey, that sounds about right. That goes right in. That goes right along with kind of how things are, because we all understand. Yeah, we have free speech, but at the same time, we know subconsciously when we're in certain spaces in certain environments, we know things that we should say and we know things that shouldn't say. I'll give you a perfect example of trying to regulate somebody's free speech. Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Say the N word right now.
Do you really want to? No, I will, bro. I will say it. I will say it, bro. I will say it. I will say it. I will say it.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Do you really want me to say it, or do you? Look, I'm asking you. Do you really want me to say it?
No, go ahead. You got it.
All right, I'll say the N word. It's nigger, isn't it? Nigger.
This isn't good for your back. I brought this on myself.
No, you.
If I were you, I'd keep those eyes closed. Cause I'm gonna play Monster Reborn. You what? Now I'll bring back a monster. It's the same one I just sent to your graveyard. My blue eyes!
Yeah, man, I knew you could do it. Now that was impressive.
No, you really did that.
Look, I've been challenged to say it before, and look, if you ask, you shall receive. That's the way I see it. Look, I'm not going out there using it like willy-nilly and just throwing those types of words around, you know, and calling people horrible names. That's not the way that I use it. But you ask me to say a word, and I'll say it quite happily. You know, that's the beauty of speech.
Right. But why don't you go out and use it willy-nilly?
Because, like I say, I like to curtail my tongue because I know it can be offensive, and I personally don't aim to go out there trying to deliberately say things that I know could offend people. Like, it may or may not offend you, but the point is, if it might offend you, then why should I say it? Like, I should learn, growing up, to be responsible with my tongue. That's what I think it comes down to. There's certain things that you can call me, I don't really give two flying fucks. Right. But at the end of the day, you know, like, I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather people didn't, because I don't, you know, people to go around insulting me or whatever. So I think it's respect. It's called mutual respect.
Oh, okay. So then by that logic, no, I agree with you. I agree with that. But here's what it really, here's like the ultimate conclusion. I think all of us here and like society in general, we agree with the idea of free speech, but in our subconscious mind, we do place limitations and restrictions on ourselves out of respect for someone else's free speech and someone else's freedom of expression. You see what I'm saying? So it's not something that we really think about. It's just something that's kind of in us, like you said earlier. Like, we know what's inherently good and what's inherently bad, but we as human beings, we do what we can to try to respect other people's rights and expressions. So that's kind of what it boils down to. So I guess the general conclusion is that we can't necessarily enforce a right time and a right place for free speech, but at the same time we can. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword. So it's like you have power on this side, but that same power on the opposite side could hurt you. So it could either help or it could hurt, I guess, in that general sense. But yeah, that was a pretty good discussion, man. That was just the icebreaker. That was just the icebreaker. Yeah, this is.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna have to join on my laptop. My joint is 29.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next topic, and we're gonna react to another video. I'm gonna ask another question, and then we're gonna keep it pushing. So y'all ready?
Oh yeah.
Sir.
All right.
We're following a developing story tonight. ABC has suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late night show indefinitely over comments that he made on his show Monday night about Charlie Kirk's death.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
The suspension comes after Nexstar announced that its ABC affiliates would preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live. Nexstar called the comments, quote, offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse. A spokesperson for ABC said, quote, Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely. Today, Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr blasted Kimmel's remarks and said the FCC has, quote, remedies it could look at. Nexstar currently has a major merger before the Trump administration for its proposed acquisition of Tegna. Jimmy Kimmel has not commented.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
What's crazy? I was gonna talk about that earlier.
yeah, see, but I was already thinking ahead.
Yeah,
See,
hey, I was
was
gonna
already
say, I was
thinking
thinking,
ahead.
I was thinking in my head, I was thinking that too. I was like, bro, go already talk about that. I already know.
Yep.
Mhm.
So with Jimmy Kimmel's show getting canceled, that raises a question. Jimmy Kimmel's show got canceled indefinitely. Was it justified, or is Jimmy Kimmel a victim of unfair treatment?
Oh,
For real.
when you ask it
Feel,
like that, that sounds so dirty.
feeling like Michael Jackson Thriller with that sound effect. You feel me?
Bruh. Okay. It's a 50-50 for me. And this is why I say that.
Okay.
It's a half
Hey, real quick. I'm gonna let y'all rock out. I'm gonna step away and go to the restroom real quick. Y'all got it.
okay. So yeah, it's a 50-50 for me. Like like one side of the token is saying, yeah, Jimmy got Jimmy got treated the way Stephen Colbert did. But at the same time, again, it goes right back to the icebreaker, and like you have to be careful of what you're saying. You have to be careful of what you say out. You know, like right place, like saying stuff at the right place at the right time. Like they was saying earlier. You know what I'm saying? Because like, yeah, Trump is really a bitch, right? Anything sensitive that is said something about that is said about him, what he's going to do is he's going to sit here and be all mad about it and wants to shut people up and wants to take off their show and be like, you fired. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they but yeah, that's what they're wanting to but yeah, that's what he wanted to do. But the crazy thing about that is I never heard of a president ever getting mad over comments that comedians say about them. Like I mean, that's kind of like what's in the biz. Like comedians go out there, they take risks every day, just joking on people in the audience.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
true.
I'm saying? So it's like on one side of the token, I think Jimmy did wrong because of the fact that he's getting treated just like Stephen Colbert did whenever he said something about the Paramount Skydance thing that I mentioned way earlier. But
Mhm.
at the same but at the same time, you know, with how sensitive that President Trump is right now, okay, every time somebody says something about him, oh, they got to go, oh, he's got terrible ratings and da da da. Yeah, we have to be very careful about what we say now because you know.
Oh, really?
And it's sad that people have to do that. Like I don't see anybody getting on I don't see anybody getting on David Letterman's case.
Well, can I just say something here real quick? Because what I'm going to say is quite important. Yeah, we have seen cancel culture being enacted on people from both the left and the right. Cancel culture. That's what it is. It's cancel culture. Okay. So this is once again going back to political warfare. There's always going to be consequences to people's actions, like we said, you know. And if people are going to go around celebrating bad news and constantly going out there and provoking people, you know, and just dividing people, we just don't want them. Whether it's right or not to cancel people or not, look, society has decided that people, if they don't want them around anymore, they'll just turn a cold shoulder. I'm not a big fan of cancel culture personally, but I do think that when you've got mainstream news organizations, they've got a different set of responsibilities. They have to ensure that they keep to non-biased news, you know, because otherwise we're just going to end up with, what do you call it, echo chambers, left-wing echo chambers, but we'll end up with the same on the right as well. I think both sides of the political spectrum equally as guilty when it comes to cancel culture, to be honest.
So then by that logic, do you think that that framework kind of goes along with what I said in the beginning about we all believe in free speech, but in our mind, we kind of have our own guidelines and parameters of how we all think it should go, which is what.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't matter because ultimately, I believe I've got something. So I believe I'm very faithful in the whole idea that humanity, like good, always will prevail over evil in the end. So I think sometimes, as humanity, we have to go through these turbulent times and we have to just dig deep. And I think it just comes down to leading by example. If you've got that kind of faith and you know that we're moving in the right direction through trial and tribulation, then ultimately things will be okay in the end, so long as we know we're doing the right thing. So I just encourage people to start thinking more as an individual. I say this to people: if you really want to fix the world, then start with yourself. Be the change that you wish to see in the world, and then that will have a ripple effect on everything else around you. Otherwise, we can look at externally at everything else out there and go, I don't like that person, don't like that person, don't like him, shut up, you, shut up. Rather than doing that, people should look at themselves and question, what about myself do I want to do better? Focus on yourself before you can help everybody else. That's what I think. Sorry, that's my little preachy rant, but I hope that makes sense.
Okay.
Hey,
yeah, you got that.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
All right, what you got?
Man, I tell you,
sorry, bro.
That was absolutely whew. See, this is why I love people from the UK because when they tell the truth, that shit sound exciting as hell. I swear they do. but
Hey,
yeah.
You know what though? Real quick, Coley, I hate to cut you off, bro.
Oh, you good? You good?
But watch this though. You want to know something that I realized?
What's that?
Is that over in the UK, the people there are way more blunt than Americans are in general, but yet they have way more restrictions on their free speech than we do.
And the crazy thing is, America used to be like that with the bluntness. Whatever we said was blunt. Now we're like pussyfied. Like, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying?
Ketchupified.
No, yeah, and you're right. Okay, Amber Smith is back again. Shout out to her.
Shout out to Mrs. Smith.
Yes, sir. She says it's justified because it's a private business and they have the right to fire someone if they're going to make the business look bad. So by that logic, the speech is only free as long as you operate within the parameters that I have set.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie. Anonymous, you know me very well. I am like a nerd, or sometimes a super nerd when it comes to companies and logos and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
ABC and anything that's no. Let me change what I just said. Disney being that ABC is under that umbrella since Regis and Kathy Lee, is facing major backlash from not only people who are working for Disney, but actors and actresses who are working for Disney saying, hey, cancel your subscription to Disney Plus, Hulu, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because of Jimmy Kimmel getting yanked off the air. Oh, and by the way, allegedly, Jimmy Kimmel show might get back on the air soon. Heavy on the mic on that, by the way, because I don't think that's happening. when you say someone is suspended indefinitely, they are remaining off the air. And here's how I know that's correct. Mark, you might know who I'm talking about on this one because a fellow talk show of yours came to our country too, and in both countries got end up getting canceled, and that is Jeremy Kyle. Oh yes, he knows.
Yeah. Mate, absolutely. But do you know something? They didn't fully cancel him. He does host his own talk. Well, he doesn't host it himself, but he is a presenter on a host news station. Still, so he does still keep himself going. But yeah, I mean, look, he was very much tarnished. He was very, very much cancelled. His reputation was, smeared in the same way that they do with lots of people. And I think that what it is the system threatened by people's freedom of speech and expression, especially those who like to stand up for basic human rights. And rather than meet them head on with genuine discussion, they think it's easier to smear people. They want to smear somebody, present them to be, some person that they're not actually, and just tarnish their reputation. And once somebody's reputation is tarnished, it's very difficult, to build yourself back up for a lot of people. It's a shame. It's sad to see people being cancelled the way they are. I wish people, if they were going to be cancelling people, they'd do it a little bit more compassionately, not just, going, oh, I don't like you. I don't like the look on your face, or the tone of your voice, but people were very petty in today's society.
They finna hit you with that. You crack your shit.
Okay. So, Mark, I got a question for that. So, if the overwhelming majority of us don't really like the cancel culture thing, because we've seen it affect people on both sides, right? So we all agree that cancel culture in general is a bad thing, but to that second to last point you made about canceling somebody or letting them go in a nice way, well, how would you let them go or cancel them without having to tell them that it's because of what you said?
Oh, look, it's not going to happen. Just because I wish something would happen doesn't mean that I'm a realist. In the ideal world, I wish people were nicer. But in reality, some people are nasty and some people are spiteful, and they have what I would call a venomous tongue on them. They spit venom, they spit hatred. It's just in their nature quite a lot of the time. But I do think people are salvageable. I do think that we can save people. And I think if we can lead by example and show compassion, right, then I think that's the best way forward. I just think that we need to overwhelm them with positive messages, overwhelm the world with positive messages, as opposed, yeah.
Oh, really?
I would think so.
Yes, really. Look, it's good to be idealistic, and it's also very good to be realistic as well. We obviously understand the challenges that we've got ahead of us when it comes to freedom of speech and expression. But I think there are good people in this world that do exist, and they do things the right way. And I think it's those people that just need to continue fighting the right fight. Say what you got to say, but say it for the right reason. Look,
Yeah. But see, herein lies the challenge. So I highlighted earlier that all of us believe in free speech, but within the confines of a framework, right? So a question that I had posed earlier, when you had used the example of people using their freedom of speech to spread negative messages and radicalize people, and you called it manipulation. And then I asked you a question. I said, okay, well, if you're using that same logic, but it's the opposite for good, would that be considered manipulation too?
No, I don't think so. I think manipulation is purely driven to manipulate people to do bad things. I would say that when you encourage people to do good things, you're not manipulating them, because it's all about, like, who are you doing it for? Like, positive encouragement is for the betterment of other people, isn't it? Like, if I encourage you to get up off your bum and go do something today that you're a bit nervous about, I'm encouraging you. I'm not manipulating you. But if I wanted you to do something that I'm going to benefit from at the end of the day, and I'm doing it for my own selfish reasons, then I think that's a different way of looking at it,
But I would argue that that's a form of manipulation.
Well, I disagree personally. I just think it's a different way of looking at it. I don't call encouraging people to do good things. I don't see that as a form of manipulation at all whatsoever. I mean, how can you manipulate somebody to be good? It makes no sense. You can encourage them, you can teach them the right way. The only manipulation, in my opinion, is when you manipulate people to do something for your own self-gratification. And that's what I think. So I don't really know. I don't know the actual definition, to be honest. I don't have a dictionary, but
we'll see. But then it comes to whether it's benevolent or malevolent or malevolent. I'm sorry. It's either benevolent or malevolent. I would argue that they're both forms of manipulation, but one serves a good purpose and one serves a bad purpose. Because I could speak to you in a certain way. That's what motivational speakers do. Motivational speakers.
Sure. But then I just say this. I just turn around and say, and I say, well, do what you want. It's up to you, isn't it? You behave and do as you want, right? You search deep inside your own soul. You decide what is right and what is wrong, and then you act on it, right? It's up to you. And I like to encourage people to find their own soul and dig deep and find what they believe is right or wrong. I can't teach another person what is good and what is evil. But one thing I can do is lead by example.
I'm sorry, I'm off. I'm off a little bit. Look at Chisel.
My God. Oh, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
All it's missing is the candy, eh?
You said the candy, I'm dead.
No, but if
you get what I'm saying, though, don't you? You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here to preach to people how they should or shouldn't behave, or what is right or wrong, or what is good or bad. That's not my place to do so. But what I encourage people to do is dig deep in their soul and find it for themselves and act on it and do the right thing. You know, look out to you and say, like, do you think that going around killing people is good? Yes or no? If you say no, then don't kill people. And I'm hoping that the majority of people say no. Yeah. And then hopefully those that do say yes will be encouraged to do better in life. You know, do better, be better.
Well, I have kind of a controversial take on that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have kind of a controversial view on that because I look at it like this. I think killing is a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil. And the reason I say that is because all of us can agree that there are certain types of people in the world that quote unquote deserve to be killed.
Well, no. I don't think they do because look, I think that people can deserve to be incarcerated and punished and locked away from society, not necessarily killed, but eradicated from society in a different way. Put away so that they can't cause harm within society. Yeah. Now, I also going to quickly agree. I do understand what you mean by sometimes, you know, inherently some things are for the better good. In like, look, for example, war, famine, and disease. Okay, without those three concepts, you know, our population we would have probably overpopulated the planet and we'd be doomed already. You know, so there are necessary evils that exist, right? But why call them evils? We just call them parts of the universe, parts of nature, parts of, if you want to call it, God's bigger plan. You know, God's great plan. That's what it is. So of course, people do unfortunately get unalived or killed or murdered. Yeah, but I don't agree with it. I think people should do their best to preserve life. You know, and if they don't agree, and if they think that they're likely to put other people at risk, then lock them away, you know, but I don't believe in killing anybody ever in any which way, shape or form, you know, no matter how bad they are. Like I feel bad for the worst people out there in the world that get killed. So it's just the empathy and compassion that lies within.
So do you think that certain types of people deserve certain privileges that other people get if they're bad or evil? Do you think that they deserve the same privileges and do you think that they deserve the same rights, freedoms, privileges? Do you think that they deserve certain aspects and benefits that other members of society get if they're evil?
No, I think when a person is locked away and legitimately thrown in prison for, like, so long as like they're definite. Look, I know that there are people that get imprisoned that are deemed to be and found to be guilty many years later afterwards, and they're the ones that the stories that break our hearts. Yeah, but at the same time, you know, there are some real serious criminals out there that they don't deserve their basic, well, they deserve what I would call basic human rights. Basic human rights, you know, warmth, a shelter over their head, food, you know, keep them alive, you know, and a certain degree of comfort. But what I don't think that they deserve is to be allowed out into public, into society, where they're likely to cause another crime and cause maybe another murder or kill someone or rape someone. I think that we have to be very careful to protect society, you know, and sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes as a society, we might lock people away unjustly, and those stories are very heartbreaking, but we're not perfect. Humanity is far from perfect, and I don't think humanity will ever be perfect.
Okay, so if you don't think society and human beings will ever be perfect, then by your logic, you agree with my initial statement when I said killing is a necessary evil.
I believe in the concept of perfectly imperfect. So I believe that the universe is perfect, but it's perfect for all of its imperfections. So when we look out and, you know, and we see the concept of death, for example, unfortunately, that's like a negative feeling that it invokes. But the universe is perfect through its imperfections. Look, I don't want to get too philosophical.
No. Go ahead. You got it.
Yeah. So I just think that we have to look at the perfection of the imperfection around us and have to be more open to, you know, the world will never be what some people seek. Some people wish to bring heaven on earth, you know, heaven to earth. They seek some kind of utopia, some kind of ideology that is beyond their reach.
Mm-hmm. Now, what you got, Coley?
Now, I ain't gonna lie.
I'm
glad it was. I'm glad it was cleared up.
Jimmy Kimmel's show being canceled, was it justified, or is it Jimmy Kimmel being a victim of unfair treatment? What you think?
Yeah. Like I was mentioning earlier when you was away, I believe it's 50-50 because because like was he being treated unfairly? Was he being treated unfairly? Yes, because of the fact that he was being treated the same way Stephen Colbert was when he got yanked off the air or whatnot for saying what he said about the Paramount Skydance merger, which by the way both are heavily supported by Trump or whatever, and then. But at the same time, it goes back to like, is it the right place at the right time to say certain things or whatnot? And I think that's where, you know, people like the higher ups at ABC looked at it and it was like, no, you can't say that, this, that, and the third. And then that's when that's when even other higher ups that like like the news report said, like Tegna, well, no, Nexstar and Tegna and even Sinclair Broadcast Group was even trying to, you know, preempt their spot indefinitely because of of what what he said. Now, do I believe what Jim Kimmel said was wrong? No, because it's the truth. But at the same time, it goes back to this sign right here. Like it's only when you say it off camera when it makes it okay in Jimmy's case. So that's why his show ended up getting yanked off. And do I believe he should have got yanked off? No. But at the same but at the same time it's like, oh, ABC feel like it's justified. Well, ABC's getting it some backlash because of the simple fact that people are canceling their Disney Plus and all this other stuff, and people are saying, hey, let's not watch ABC anymore or whatnot. Right now they got his show replaced by old reruns of Celebrity Family Feud at 11:35. Who is watching that at 11:35 at night? Seriously.
Yeah, for real.
Like people would rather watch Nightline, because Nightline way back in the day used to be at 11:35 for real. Right, but
okay, so do you think that his show should have been pulled or should have just been left alone?
If there was to pull an extreme, like pulling him off the air, right?
Okay.
My opinion
right.
would be, hey, suspend him for a week, air reruns of old episodes of shows and stuff like that, and have a little powwow with Jimmy, behind the scenes and stuff like that, and then bring them back on the air with new episodes and stuff like that the following week. I wouldn't cancel his show or suspend them indefinitely or anything like that, because as I was mentioning before, comedians go on air and they talk, and they take a chance on talking about whatever topic comes out of their mouth. And and I'm gonna say something else too. I'm seeing a video yesterday of the late and great Johnny Carson, and I think he already knew what was going to happen in the future. He said that basically that politics shouldn't be talked about in the word of being a comedian, right? If you're male or female, it shouldn't be talked about, because there's certain things that shouldn't be talked about, and you might end up suffering the consequences behind that. And I listen to that and I'm like, you know what? He's got something there. Oh wait. Oh wait, look what happened to Jimmy and Colbert. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be after Fallon next.
Hey, that's crazy you said that. What a coincidence.
And by the way, you see The View ain't talked about that shit.
Hey, what about even though that's not him, but what about the actor Henry Cavill who played a Superman? They did him bogus as hell too.
I ain't hear anything about that one.
Yeah, but if you think about it though, here's my take on this. I'll give my take and I'll make it brief. So, being logically consistent, if I agree that the majority of us believe in free speech, we're okay with taking jokes, we're okay with a lot of things when it comes to free speech, right? I don't think that Jimmy Kimmel show should have been pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I say that? And I don't even like Jimmy Kimmel. But watch this. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I'm still kind of salty that he used to date Sarah Silverman. But anyway,
wait, hold on. I gotta search that up. Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, I don't know how he pulled her, but that was my girl back in the day. But anyway,
that was the Comedy Central days.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah Silverman.
Wait, what?
That's still my girl.
Dang, that's crazy.
But anyway, I don't think that Jimmy Kimmel show should have been pulled. Because
I think this is what should happen. Let's say, for example, somebody who's got a responsibility as a TV host, they say something that upsets people, they say something wrong. I think they should be given the benefit of the doubt and an opportunity to explain themselves, to perhaps apologize. I don't really know much of Jimmy Kimmel. I know he's like an American talk show host, I think. Yeah. And I'm sure he's probably said lots of very controversial things that have upset a lot of people. But I still believe in the right to free speech. Now, if he's said things that may upset or invoke some kind of hatred, people should be given the benefit of the doubt and they should be allowed to explain themselves. But it depends, I suppose, on what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve. It's very difficult, though, to determine somebody's motive, whether they're actually trying to, invoke some kind of reaction or what it is. So I agree, he should not have been cancelled. I don't know who he is. He probably shouldn't have been cancelled. But if he's inciting hatred or deliberate violence, then that's a different matter, isn't it?
And that's kind of what I was getting to. See, I don't think that Jimmy Kimmel's show should have been pulled. Why? Because he's well within his right when it comes to free speech to speak on current events. If he wants to make a joke or whatever, we make jokes all the time. Because if it was really that big a deal, why hasn't South Park been canceled? South Park makes jokes about everybody and everything.
What about the Simpsons?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
Family Guy.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So if we're going to pull one show, then we need to pull everybody. We have to be consistent. We can't pick and choose.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, we can't pick and choose based on who's on the left.
Hold on. You know what that's called?
We can't do that.
You know what that's called?
What is it called? Go ahead.
Favoritism.
There you go. There you go. So I have to be consistent on both sides. Do I agree with what he said? No. But that doesn't mean he deserves to have his show canceled, because at the end of the day, regardless of what we think and how we feel about things, all of us human beings, we trying to make our money and eat. We trying to take care of people that's looking up to us and that's dependent on us. So
that's good. That comes down to integrity, though. Integrity.
Wait.
Sorry, bro.
No, you good. You good. So all I'm saying is that Jimmy Kimmel was well within his right to exercise his free speech. And going back to the first topic, the first question with the teachers getting let go, I don't think that those teachers should have lost their jobs. Why? Because nothing they said was a call to action. They just said, hey, it made me laugh a little bit. I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with saying that, because us human beings, we tend to have some dark humor sometimes. We laugh
but some people can't handle that though. But like, look, for example, right? Like for example, everybody know the favorite movie. Nah, I know you finna know this movie when I say this line. Don't you ever touch a black man's radio?
Yeah, Rush Hour.
Yeah. Nah. Supposedly on TV, they gotta do the censorship and all that. But it was a dude on TikTok. He was just like, it's crazy as hell how we come to a day like people couldn't handle jokes back then. That was really funny as shit in the age well, in which I 100% agree. You feel me? Sometimes, I feel like sometimes they gonna be offensive, but sometimes you gotta look at it like, hey, at least that shit was funny. Or like, at least if it wasn't funny, like, be like, well, at least you try. You get what I'm saying? Some people, like I said, they supposedly crash outs. They be like, damn, what the fuck this motherfucker said? Or like, these bogus as hell. Or like, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, and see when it like with my views when it comes to certain things, I tend to have a little more controversial views when it comes to certain topics, because at the end of the day, like Mark said earlier, us human beings, we're not perfect. We're all trying to wing it and we're figuring this thing out together, right? And since we're all in the same boat when it comes to like a general perspective, I don't agree with restricting Coley's right to express himself. I don't agree with restricting Tizzle Mode's right to express himself. And I don't agree with restricting Mark Fowler's right to express himself. So being logically consistent, I don't agree with restricting people's rights to express themselves as long as they're adults and they're of consenting age. Now, when it comes to raising children and monitoring children, their freedoms have to be restricted because they don't understand certain concepts and and certain ideas. They don't understand, right?
But they think they know because of what they see.
That's true. But what we all have in common is that regardless of how we feel and we think we know something, life always has a way of showing you, hey, you don't know as much as you think you do. You might want to tone it down a little bit.
Right. Yep. Hey, you know what? Hey, I don't know how that just came at the top of my dome. Should I talk about the topic or not? I feel like everybody will have their thoughts on this. Like, should I say it?
Well, because my general premise on it.
Yeah.
I don't think people need to lose their job just for making a joke about something or just expressing their opinion on something. As long as they're not issuing a call to action that creates hostility and enacting violence on people, I think you should be able to say whatever you want.
For real.
That's my take on it. But what you got, Tizamo? Go ahead.
Oh, so I was gonna say, what do y'all think about the Roger Jackson situation?
Oh, with the wrestler?
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't really looked. I mean, I've been hearing about it, but I haven't actually sat down and looked into it. Right.
Okay.
So I guess I can't really speak too much to it because I haven't really looked into it to try to look at the pros and the cons on both sides. So I mean, I'll sit that one out.
I mean, you want me to explain to you a little bit?
Yeah, you can make it brief. Go ahead.
All right, so supposedly, Roger Jackson was with a group of people or whatever. He had this cameraman, and they went like to this wrestling convention or something, and they was like in the back. And as soon as Roger was live streaming, I guess the dude who he slammed like later on, he was like a professional wrestler. But what they didn't know is that Roger wasn't like part of the wrestling script, whatever the hell they was doing. So the dude had like a beer can, smashed that shit on Roger, I think head or something like that. And they thought like it was all part of an act. And Roger was letting motherfuckers know like you better calm his ass down before I really do that shit to him. Like I would really literally fuck him up. Like he literally said some shit just like that. Like I would literally fuck up this dude. And the people was like, well, we know you will fuck him up. And they was like, we don't want you to do that. You feel me? So like literally like minutes after that, it's some fucking dude in what black fucking tidy whities or whatever, motherfucker got a black vest on and a black cowboy hat. He telling Roger Jackson, it really sounded like he was just hyping his head up when you see the video, but dude was like, he did that shit to you, right, you know what a receipt is, right? You go do that to that motherfucker. Yeah. So later on in the video, motherfucker Roger Jackson watching motherfuckers wrestle and shit, and he looking at the comments on Twitch or whatever the fuck he was on. He was on some live stream shit. And I guess motherfuckers was trolling him. As motherfuckers will say, they was rage baiting him. They was saying you didn't do shit. Motherfuckers was like, personally, if that was me, I wouldn't let that shit happen. Yada yada. You know how that shit go. Like they pretty much belittling him. That's how it going. So pretty much he literally said what he was gonna do. He was gonna say, I'm gonna fuck up a wrestler. This gonna be my first time to fuck him up, yada yada, and all that. To like, he said the act he was gonna do before he did it, and all you seen like at the end of the video was he scooped his ass in the ring and he fucking got behind his back and like slammed the shit out of him, like on his back, left him like paralyzed and was punching the shit out of him like at least like I don't know, like 10, 15 times where this motherfucker was unconscious and like like it's controversial as fuck as you was just talking about earlier. Like some people saying like he deserved it, some people saying that he didn't. Like what you think? Like what's your thoughts on that?
Wait, you said who deserved? Like what happened?
Some fighter.
So they said the wrestler deserved to get slammed by Roger Jackson because the wrestler had hit him with the can and he thought that it was part of the script. But really though, the wrestler had made amends with him before this shit happened and apologized to him and all that. Like so, and
so if you're saying that Raja Jackson decided to get amped up due to what people on Twitch were saying, then he's out of line. Because
I agree.
Yeah, because if you're saying that him and the other guy had made amends and squashed it before the match, and then he decided to flip a switch or let people put a battery in his back, That's on him.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Like,
That's on him.
I started laughing my ass off because I started seeing some people reactions. They was like, one dude was like, "Buddy, gotta go lay down for a little while." I was like, he ain't lying. I was like, he was like, "Buddy, gotta lay down for a little bit." He was like, you literally made amends with him, and then you slammed that man to the ground and you punched him while he was unconscious. He'd be like, "Buddy, gotta lay down for a little bit," and I'm like, for real, like. I don't think personally that's something cool to do. I mean, was it fucked up for him to hit you with the beer can? Yeah, but it's also fucked up on this end though that he slammed him when dude did just make amends on him. You get what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
I take it as like, I guess how my parents would say or other parents would say. I feel like, my boy, like how we come from, like how our parents raised us. They'll be like, man, fuck what they talking about. They
can I say a point on what you're saying? Yeah, I think like when you're in the fighting industry and the entertainment industry, yeah, take it in the ring, man.
Yeah,
always keep it in the ring. Yeah, there are certain rules, right, to fighting, and we've got old school rules like street fights, like. We've got like certain rules. You take it in the ring. But as soon as people start like, using the excuse that somebody else encouraged me to like take the violence outside of the ring and act on my own accord, it's like, bro, you make your own choices. Yeah, you make your own actions. You decide whether you're going to do this, that, and the other. And I think like, so you stick to the rules within what's called fair game. It's called fair game because you keep it in the ring and keep it tight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree, but he fucked up on though, because like the wrestling thing they was doing, it wasn't like real. Like the shit they was doing is like all stage, and they like figure out ways like how to still keep themselves safe to a minimum. And like he didn't do shit to a minimum. Like he went in there like reckless as shit. Like I said, he went in there like how motherfuckers would call people crash outs. Like he pretty much snaked them. Like if you see the video, he pretty much snaked them. Like he went behind the man back. He couldn't even do nothing about it. Like, but imagine though, like some people were saying, like, imagine though, like if the man had the opportunity to see him slamming in front of him, he probably would have had the opportunity to like, not for that to happen. But the fact that he did it while he was behind, like. So should I say that's a bitch ass shit? Like that's a bitch move, realistically. Like I hate shit like that. I hate when motherfuckers snake. Or I hate in today's society. I hate to say it when the fucking why ends. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They call themselves why ends. I hate when they fucking be acting like they tough and all that. Well, as soon as they homies not around.
Can I just say something as well, real quick? Because I'm sure other people want to say stuff as well, yeah? So, like, once again, it's very easy to hate this and hate that and hate this action out in society. When you see this, you see an injustice, a disjustice happening, whatever, Everyone in today's era seems to look out there and see, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Do you know what I hate? For whatever reason, I even hate the word hate. I hate the word hate. And it's like weird, yeah, because I'm like, I don't hate anything. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is, like life is unfair, right? But we can't be hating like some of these silly, like little injustices that happen. People do things, people say things, consequences happen. It is life, man. It is just life. And, like I said earlier, we have responsibility over our own actions, yeah? So you can hate on what someone else has said or what someone else has done, but are you really hating, or are you just like, it's not hate. You got to love it for what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, but if you really think about it, though, see, this type of stuff is funny to me because as much as we as human beings in society, we try to tell people how they should regulate their emotions and all this other type of stuff. I look at it like this. If you want to be a hater, you're well within your rights to be a hater. If you're a supporter and a fan and you choose to have my best interest in mind and you choose to have my back, you're well within your right to do it.
Hey, but you know what they say though?
Because at the end of the day, on both sides of that, it's still a result of freedom of expression.
Right.
under freedom of speech. So if you want to be a hater, you want to troll in the comments, hey, that's cool. I'll go back and forth with you, but I'm not gonna let it escalate to where there's gonna be threats of violence and all that other type of stuff, because now you're going into some other type of territory. Now, now you're taking it from, okay, we're just having a playful little banter back and forth. Yeah, we're trading jokes, we're cracking on each other, but now
I'm tweaking.
Yeah, you want to take it to another level. Well, now you're trying to infringe on my safety and my personal space. So now it's escalating into something else. But if you're just cracking jokes or whatever, I'm cool with it. You could be a hater, you could be a fan.
Hey, but you know what they say though? If they ain't hating, you ain't doing something right.
That part.
That part is true. That part is true. So
also to an earlier point.
Wait, just real quick. So with that being said, I think that hate is also necessary, because if we're looking at life from a balanced perspective, you can't have joy without pain, right?
Yeah, true.
You can't have sunshine without rain. You can't have good without evil.
Hey, what Smoke say from GTA San Andreas? Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. You feel me? Like
we can't have life without death.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? We can't have black without white. We can't have up without down, and we can't have left without right.
For real, hey, that part.
That's real shit.
So I'm under the stern belief that you have to be able to learn how to take the bad with the good. That's why I said in the beginning, I don't think those teachers should have lost their jobs, and I don't think that Jimmy Kimmel's show should have been pulled.
Period.
For real.
And to an earlier point, that Tizzle said earlier, look, do not say things that you don't mean, like that apology. That apology was absolutely bullshit. Okay, like if you're gonna apologize to somebody, be heartfelt with it. Actually mean it. Don't sit here and say, "Hey, my bad, my bad. I'm sorry, da 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 da." But then go a few minutes later and gonna not to do that. Like, what the fuck? What is that? Like, you can't do that.
No,
Like,
exactly. That's man. Yeah, I was like, that's fucked up for real. I was like, I hope Buddy sue for real, but I ain't heard nothing from what went on after that, so I don't think he like pressing charges and none of that shit. But me personally, like as motherfuckers would say, I probably would do that because like, what the fuck, like. I just feel like doing that to anybody, like that ain't cool. You feel me? Or like you do that to the wrong motherfucker, they know self-defense, like you never know. Like they can really do that to your ass, like on some Michael J. White / like Bruce Lee type shit. You feel me? Like they man, like I'm telling you.
All right, so we gonna go ahead and wrap this topic up. Y'all got any final thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I just want to say last thing quickly. Like, I agree. Once again, I think you and me are pretty much on the same wavelength. Yeah, I get your concept, of light and dark, good and evil, up and down. Yeah, I call it the same head, two sides of the same coin. Or it's two sides of the same coin. Life wouldn't exist without having the two opposites. And there is like what I would call. People should do some shadow work sometimes so they can embrace the fact that nothing is perfect in the world and that you have to embrace the fact that you are not perfect and that you do have dark sides. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has a dark side.
Yeah.
And everyone has a good side. It's just how far on the on either side of the spectrum are you? Anyway, that's my last little thoughts on that bit.
Okay. Quick question on that. So if every human has a dark side, do you think that us having a dark side is a necessary evil?
Yeah, but I don't call it. I don't really. I mean, yes, I think that some people look. Nobody is inherently born good or evil. I think, like, you know what I mean. I mean, it's very difficult to pinpoint. I do think that sometimes that I just feel it in my bones. If I see people doing bad things, I feel like it's inherently evil. But I know that people can be rectified. I know that all they need to do is flip that coin over. and see the light, because I think that the light always outshines the darkness. For example, if you take a candle into a dark room and light the candle, the whole room will illuminate. So I think that there are positive energies in life and there are negative energies, and it all comes down to the like hermetic principles of polarization and opposites and so on and so forth. So it's very difficult because that's a whole nother subject.
Right. That's true. But watch this though. The reason that I think that human beings having a dark side is a necessary evil, because at the top of the show, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. You did say that you're a Christian man, right?
I'm a cultural Christian. I'm not a practicing Christian.
Okay, cool. So that means we have a general understanding of the framework of it, right? So if we have a general understanding of that framework, then by the logic of that framework, we were born into sin.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were born into sin, that means we were born into an environment where there is necessary evil.
Like the movie Sinners, you feel me?
That's good.
Bro, I completely agree. Yeah. I do believe in necessary, like, I just don't like the terminology of calling it necessary evil. I just call it like what I would call Mother Nature. So let's say, for example, an animal dies, yeah? Right? I don't call it a necessary evil. I don't think like the devil caused the animal to die. I call it Mother Nature. So like in my mind, like, is that an act of evil because something suffered and it died? No, I don't think it is. I think evil exists within humans. It's only humans that have the free will to do good or bad things. Animals and suffering and pain and this, that, and the other, and inevitabilities are just parts of an act of Mother Nature. So I get what you mean. I do believe that, good and evil exist in all of us, and inherently life would not exist without evil. Like, I get what you mean.
But, you mean evil like you mean evil.
So if good wouldn't exist independently of evil, without evil, that means that the evil is necessary.
Right. Yeah. We're in some kind of locked in agreement here. Yeah. I agree. Like, it's just a different way of looking at it, I think.
When the reason I say that is because, back to what I said earlier, part of human beings, we have to learn how to take the bad that comes with the good, right? So in a utopian framework, there would be no evil. But then the way us human beings are created and designed, having too much of something isn't good.
Sure, but then that becomes a paradox because you can't eradicate. Yeah, because think about it. There's people out there that want to eradicate evil. The act of eradication could be inherently evil in itself. It becomes a paradox, going out, I want to kill that person because I think they're evil. Well, you've just become the evil one for killing the person that you think was evil. And then somebody else is going to want to come along and kill you for killing the person that killed that person that killed that person. So, like, it becomes a paradox, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They gonna be like,
that's the beauty of it.
Let that one dude.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Now let me ask you this, right? Because there's a lot of people that have this utopian idea in their mind that evil shouldn't exist, right? But then let me ask a question to the panel. Would you watch an action movie or a superhero movie that didn't have a villain in it?
Hell no, because it's no motive. It's no character development.
It'd be pointless. It's gonna be boring. Think about it. Would you want to watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie without the Predator in it? Come on.
Hell no.
Would you want to watch?
Watch this. So if evil is not necessary, why wouldn't you watch an action film that doesn't have a villain?
Because it'll be boring. It's nothing there.
Man. Oh man, goddamn. Oh man.
story.
But hold on, but hold on, hold on. Some evil people, they got character development too. Like, or some people that in some shows, some movies, it seems like they evil, but and they put and how like they make them they either get mistreated or they misguided. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, in that sense, yeah.
And see, and what's interesting about it, I'll make one more point on this, and then we can go ahead and move on. One of the biggest reasons that I think evil is necessary is because a lot of us have the hope that an evil person can get redeemed.
Yeah, you wish that some evil people can't get saved though.
Right, but think about this. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of us like the storyline of Star Wars is because we got to see how Darth Vader became to be. He wasn't always evil.
Oh yeah.
He started off good, but then something happened to him, and then he did what? He went to the dark side, and that's what made the entire franchise interesting. Because
wait, hold
on. The battle between good and evil, and it draws you in, and it's relative to how human beings are.
You know who else was good and then went evil?
What's up?
I said, you know who else was good and went evil?
Go ahead.
The Punisher.
I haven't seen that movie,
You know what?
I'll just take y'all's word for it. Yeah. Okay.
I think his family. I don't know. I don't think I've seen it that much, but I think I heard like his family got gunned down in front of him or some shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And like you know, that could really. I feel like that could really fuck up somebody mental. They really want to be on some revenge type shit, which I don't blame them. You feel me? Because like them, you just literally killed this whole family in front of his face. He can't go back from that shit.
Yeah, but watch this too. Another reason why I think evil is necessary is because it's a negative energy, right? But depending on how you receive it, it could either be a driving force for change, which for the better, or it could be the catalyst for change for the worse. So just because evil things happen doesn't mean that we then have to become that. It's a choice.
Oh, just like the symbiote from Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 3. Oh God,
exactly.
He was on some cold shit.
So when evil approaches you, do you decide to then become that, or do you use that as motivation to go the opposite way to help create that balance that I was talking about earlier?
I think it all depends on where your mental is, because you do have because you do have people that have that this is the last straw that broke the camel's back mentality, and you have that one thing happen like Robin, who turned into Nightwing or wherever it was.
That's because he got abandoned by Batman when the Joker had his ass, and that was bogus as shit.
That point, or like you do have people like might as well say almost any anime ever that has someone killed in front of them and stuff like that, and they use that motivation for good and actually avenge them. You know what I'm saying? So
like Rocky 4.
Now watch
watch
this. I brought all that up to tie this all back together. Whether it's good or evil, it still falls under the framework of free speech and freedom of expression.
For real though.
Oh wow.
For real though.
That's diabolical. That was good. That was real good.
He said diabolical like the boys.
Really? That was good.
Speaking of the boys, have y'all seen that show?
You said The Boys?
Actually.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's pretty much like a show, like a parody of superheroes, but they like fucked up and shit. And like they do some like fucked up shit. Like you have to see it for first time.
And see, one more example of evil being necessary is the character stories behind X-Men.
Oh, they you know what? When I think about that, I think about Wolverine. They did my boy bogus and shit.
Automatically.
That's what I'm saying.
Yo,
So,
I think they do it a lot, yeah. I think they do it a lot, right? And one thing, look, here's another character to think of, yeah. Do you remember Thanos in if you're into Marvel, Thanos, yeah? Think of Thanos, right? He's depicted as an evil person. But in some people's minds, yeah, depending on how you view him, he could actually have been like the good guy. Do you know what I mean? In some people's minds, when he got rid of 50% of the population, some people turned around and said, like, I've heard people say, like, theoretically, he actually got rid of all the bad people in the world.
Bro.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, whoever said that, they funny as hell. I mean, hey, to each his own. The way I think about it, this motherfucker literally did all the pettiest shit to get some stones. He literally killed his own daughter. This motherfucker literally killed the Vision. This motherfucker.
Oh, bro, I'm not defending Thanos, bro. I'm not defending Thanos.
No, I know you not. I'm just saying some people like they'll think different. They'll be like, oh, he good, and like, you know, other people be like, man, he's not good. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like he accomplished what he did, but I mean, it was really honestly Endgame for the Avengers before Endgame even came out. Like,
sure,
he was
but
pretty much
the whole reason I brought him up, yeah, the whole reason I brought him up is because I've heard people say to me before, even like, you know, the bad guys can be seen as the good guys depending on which like mind, like which angle you're coming from. I've heard people defending like real bad people in the past and going, you know, that evil person out there, and you go, yeah. And it's like, well, you know, in this story, this is the protagonist, this is the hero, you know, the hero, the one that comes along and saves everything. I've heard some people twist things, like do some mental gymnastics to turn around and say, actually, the bad guy was oppressed. And if it wasn't for the protagonist coming along and saving everyone, perhaps that guy would have done a lot of good. Like Darth Vader, the evil empire. Perhaps some people have said to me, like, oh, he would have done like a lot of good if they just left him alone.
That's funny you said that. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Did they say the same thing about Star-Lord in Endgame when he sold the bag, when they almost took the gauntlet off Thanos' hand? I'm just curious.
Sure. So look, no, that they didn't. Like what I depicted from what people are trying to tell me is that, you know, some people empathize for the bad guy. They empathize for the bad guy. They say it's no wonder that bad guy is a bad guy. A bit like Anakin Skywalker. He was a good guy. He had a compassionate heart. He was a nice guy. He turned out to become Darth Vader, you know? And some people would have that, like that sense of empathy. The empathy for the fact he's still, he was a child. He was a young boy once. He was born into this world. He was innocent. He grew up, you know? And he behaved this way because he, perhaps, I don't know, his parents were murdered, he's lost his this, whatever. And it's no wonder he became the way he is. But people will still have empathy in today's era for a lot of these bad guys within certain movies. I've noticed this as a following trend. They depict the bad guy
you know
in a more empathetic way.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. You know who I think about when you talk about bad guys. It's good you said something about that, because it's one of my favorite movies. When I empathize about a bad guy, well, I mean, some people call him a bad guy. I mean, he kind of was, kind of wasn't. I see him as not, but I think of Tony Montana from Scarface. Like, nah, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's selling drugs and all that shit. That shit wrong and all that. He killed some motherfuckers, but they part of the drug game and they evil as well. So, you know, it's like to the thing, like, you know, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. But he literally did a deal with a motherfucker named Salsa, and he didn't know that he was sent to go on a mission to kill this girl and her kids. And he actually decided to be a good motherfucker and say, I'm not finna do that shit. And what did that do? That bit him back in the ass later, and it cost him his life just because he wanted to do one good ass thing. And, you know, I'm not gonna lie. It's like what you said earlier. It's like you gotta kind of see like an understanding. How can you empathize with the villain? But I'm not gonna lie though, if y'all some real hardcore fans, I'm pretty glad they came with the Scarface game. That's like the best game of all time. I don't care what nobody say. Like, if y'all don't know, y'all gotta check it out. Came on PlayStation 2, the Xbox. If y'all got PCs, y'all can emulate that right now. Literally,
I might have to check that out.
Yes, literally, it's literally a fantasy game that you probably would think of, like if he was alive and he could go kill the people who he went to try to get revenge for. Like it's definitely a 10 out of 10 recommend.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to wrap that one up. So we're going to go ahead and go to the main event. The main event.
Like,
We're about to hit the main topic of the show. And that is free speech. Does it help or harm society? Free speech. Does it help or harm society? And we're going to do this on popcorn style. So anybody can chime in at any point. Y'all go ahead and got it. Y'all go ahead. Y'all got it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Actually, this portion of it, yeah, because I think it's important to think back to a time before we had free speech. Okay, so how can we compare if free speech is important or not? Well, we can think back to history and look back at history and say there were times when kings and queens ruled the world, and if they didn't like what you had to say, then guess what they did? They chopped your head off. No questions asked. They didn't want to hear what you had to say. You know, up until the Magna Carta of 1215, look, I hate to get all historical here, but this was the turning point. You know, if you know the story of Robin Hood, you know, this was the turning point. King John, he was an evil person, and things needed to change. That was the point when free speech changed. Now, we've had lots of, you know, acts and whatever since then, but I think it's important to think back to the days when people didn't have free speech. So my answer is yes, free speech is very important, and it's enshrined in law, and it makes the world a better place.
So then, are you saying that it helps society?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Anybody else?
If
y'all want to take a couple minutes, go ahead. Y'all got it.
I was trying to say that was back then when they was doing them fucking 1940, 50 torture devices and shit. That was brutal.
Right.
All right. So real quick. So if you just now entering the stream, if you're new to the channel, make sure y'all hit the like button. Share this stream with a couple of your friends. Make sure you follow everybody on their social media sites in the links in the description. And if y'all want to join in on the
Base, you got YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Is that your name? I sub to you right now.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm finna do it real quick while we on here.
All right. So if you just tuning in, the topic right now is free speech. Does it help or harm society? Mark Fowler already gave his perspective. The only people we got left is Tizzle, Coley D, and myself. So anybody, y'all can go ahead.
Oh man. Despite the way society is today, and I use that word despite very heavily.
Uh-oh.
Bro said, uh-oh.
I think it helps. And the reason I say that is because, you know, there are some people in today's society who actually have common sense.
Okay.
I'm not gonna mention their name, but I do have a brother who lives across the street from me. He's 24, and he will talk like when we get into serious topics, he will talk about them as if he was born in the 80s, 90s, or maybe the early 2000s or something like that. He's not talking like how some of these what YNs are talking like, hey, you can do this, da 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 da, and it'd be complete and utter bullshit. You know what I'm saying? like that. That's why I see there's hope in today's society, because of the fact that there are some people who actually knows right from wrong, where we versus we have these brainwashed YNs who thinking they could just go free willy nilly do wherever do wherever the fuck they want to or whatever, become a
For real.
become a baby daddy or a baby mama at age 12 or something like that, you know.
Yeah, man. It's like I said earlier, is what they get influenced by. Some of that shit. I mean, it be really right and wrong, and it's like some of that shit. I feel the majority of it be wrong. Like I honestly, I don't be like the CNN. Like because it's just I kind of think of it as like, you know, they kids they self, they ain't even fucking fully grown yet, and they doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like.
Right, and then you have people like I might step on some toes on this one. You have people like Kai Sinada and I Show Speed
Oh damn.
who does absolute like stupid and controversial shit on there or whatever. I should be like I should speed. I'm gonna just go ahead and say he just needed to just stop being Delulu and go ahead and admit that he's gay.
Delulu.
Delulu. Yes.
Yo, can I just say something?
Right. Go ahead.
You see, like, because I had a second part, right, and you just brought me onto it, yeah. Because one thing I learned, I told you at the beginning that I worked in the healthcare industry for 12 years, and one of my responsibilities was working in the communication field. And one of the things that I was taught was the purpose of our behaviors is to get our needs met, right? So when it comes to communicating, think of a toddler or a baby, you know? Sometimes when somebody can't communicate verbally, the only way for them to grab attention is to reach out, you know, physically, and to do something physically, right? That's hence why a toddler needs to be taught to speak, you know, because if they can't speak and articulate themselves properly, then the only way they can express themselves is physically. So the reason I think that free speech is so important is because from a psychological and from a healthcare standpoint, you know, even a toddler needs to learn to be able to articulate themselves properly before they start going off the rails and thrashing out and hurting people. So I think that when people aren't able to express themselves, it leads inherently to people expressing themselves physically, which leads to violence. That's why I think free speech is that's the other point I wanted to say, and I think that's my last point, to be honest.
And that's a great segue that you just said, because of the fact that, you know, toddlers' minds or kids' brains at that point are like sponges. They're like whatever you're teaching them, they're gonna think in later years that that's okay. So the parents can't be the parents can't get mad that if their 5-year-old is sitting here saying every cuss word in the book and talking back to them and stuff like that. Not it's up to the parents. It's up to the parents and people who in my opinion will qualify like a parent or something like that, like, you know, uncles and aunts and stuff like that, to mold these kids into the right direction instead of leaving them astray like a lone wolf into the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? On the kids part, it's definitely important. It's definitely important that we teach them in the right direction. And that's why I think where it helps in society to make sure that to make sure that, you know, the children are our future, in order to make the world a better place. Because right now we are in crazyville right now. Like it's crazy how things are going right now. Like, I shouldn't have to keep hearing in the news about, like, you know, how like how all these school shootings are happening, like how how someone is constantly getting killed or whatever, how all this racism is happening or whatever. Like, there shouldn't be any of that going on, for real. Like, at the end of the day, if your skin your arm, what color comes out? Red, right? You know,
Right.
so
yeah, just like how my girl said, we all bleed the same. You feel me?
yeah. So it's like I really feel like it helps society.
Coley, real quick, I got to push back on something you just said. If you
what's
said
up?
that you think free speech in general helps society, then why would you then turn around and say that you don't think that the news should be reporting all the bad that's going on? If free speech,
No,
by that logic, that free speech would be helping society be aware of what's going on, right? So then why
yeah,
would you
that's
then
true.
turn around and say that that shouldn't be going on?
Well, no, what I mean is we should be like the mouthpiece to help to help everybody else to be led in the right direction because there's actually people who actually do give a fuck about the other people and where they need to go. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my thing about it. Like we will actually want to save people. We don't want to let these people drown. You get what I'm saying?
So again, if you're saying that you don't agree with the media telling us about all the bad that's going on, then you're kind of doubling back on your statement. Because if it's all meant to help, then why would you want to exclude the part that tells us about the harm and only focus on the good? Because remember what I said earlier, we as human beings, we have to learn how to be able to take the bad with the good. So as much as we like to hear positive things on the news, we have to learn
You're right.
to understand and
You
accept.
decline about the harm,
You're
they gonna
right.
retaliate on your ass and maybe put you in the farm. Not let me stop. Let me
Hey,
stop.
I'm
I'm
just
playing.
I had to think about it for a sec. I had to think about that for a second. You're right. You're absolutely right.
because that goes back to what I said about evil being necessary, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because we wouldn't be able to appreciate the good if we didn't also get exposed to the evil, because it puts us in a position where we have to analyze the situation and we have to reflect, and then we have decisions to make, right? Do I want to
Right.
give into this evil and become a part of it, or do I want to take that and motivate myself to be a driving force for change and positivity? See what I'm saying? So it's all, in my opinion, it's all necessary. Whether we like it or not, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
People people are gonna use free speech for evil. People are gonna use free speech for good. It just is what it is. It's just a matter of what are you gonna use your free speech for? And I'll land my plane right there.
Yeah. I feel. Yeah. Well played. Well played.
You got anything else on it, Mark?
So I think, look, one thing I was thinking, the one thing that came to mind was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like a psychological pyramid that puts people into different positions on what they really need and want from life. You know, some people don't really want much. Some people literally seek basic food and shelter, and water. You know, and they're pretty happy to get on with their life. They don't want to get involved. They don't understand a lot of things. They just want ignorant bliss. They live a life of ignorant bliss.
Yep.
You know, other people seek more. Other people want to have their voices heard. They've got like what I would call a desire to be heard, their voices to be heard, to be accepted, to be appreciated. And I think that it's important that people that need appreciation need to be heard and need to be valued, because, you know, it stops those people feeling like hateful and resentful. A lot of people, I think, right, they build resentment and hatred because all they're trying to do is have their voices heard, but they're constantly like pushed down, kicked down, belittled, and actually they build a form of resentment. And I think that we encourage sometimes as a society people to become bad people because we don't allow them to express themselves freely. So I think it's really important to allow people, you know, just to, like, one thing I was going to say before is, you know, a silent racist is probably more dangerous than a vocal racist. At least somebody who tells you they're racist, at least you know where they stand.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't express that and they sit in the room with you and pretends to be the snake, then they're more dangerous than anybody else.
I seen some people say that on some YouTube videos, and I'd be like, damn. I'd be like, well, shit. At least they 100 about it. I'd be like, well, shit. Like you said, they dangerous. At least you know how to keep your distance from them. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, because
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that people should be like overtly racist, but like I'd much rather an overt. Like personally, I'd much rather know somebody's overtly racist than invert. Like, what do you call it? In the opposite, like a silent one.
Covert.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, I think what it comes down to is I like to know where I stand. So if somebody can express themselves, I feel safer because I know that what they're thinking, I know what they're talking about. If they're unable to articulate their thoughts and feelings, I wonder sometimes, are they building up thoughts and opinions and resentments in the back of their mind that they're not really expressing openly? And can I really trust these people? Are they snakes? Are they backstabbers? Are they those soft power people that are going to give you a hug and stab you on the back? Do you know what I'm saying?
Like the
So
industry.
I much prefer the straight face-to-face dialogue than the sly snake type covert. That's the word, covert behavior.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I know. I just yeah, gotcha.
No, you good. You got it. Okay, so because I'm gonna push back just a little bit. So when it comes to a person who is quote unquote racist, right? Do you think it's better for a person to outwardly express it or keep it to themselves? And here's another part to it. Aside from whether you think that they should openly express it or keep it to themselves, do you then think that there's a right time and a right place to express it if you do think that they should?
Yeah.
No, but what I think. Oh, go on. You go.
Oh no, you go.
No. I'm going to take a quick break actually, just for 2 minutes. I've got to do something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. But I mean, hey, that question's to anybody. Do you think that a person who is racist should openly express it or keep it to themselves? And if you do say that they should openly express it, do you believe that there's a right time and place for them to do so?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if they want to say it, it's a freedom of speech for real. Like we said from the get go. Like at least they showing their true colors. You get what I'm saying? At least you know ahead of time. It's saving you all the headache and all the bullshit you could ever think of. Like it's like I don't know how can I kind of hide it. For example, it's kind of like in the movie Salt. I mean, yeah, is that not Salt, Wanted. It's kind of like the movie Wanted. That motherfucker named Wesley. Like, if his best friend would have just kept it 100 with him, I'm talking about that, like, he was sleeping with his girl, he probably would have left her ass, like, in the beginning from the get-go. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, have y'all seen that movie before?
I've seen it, but I don't really remember too much of it because it was a while ago that I seen that movie.
Yeah, it was like one of them I wouldn't say that old, but it was like one of the action movies that kind of like made it seem like how it would be if you could curve bullets and shit with guns. Like that was the whole concept. I'm not gonna lie though, I used to think that shit was clean, but like realistically, that shit not gonna happen. But I mean, you think about it now, like the shit they used in the beginning, Angelina Jolie used that one shit she used that she put her pistol on. I think they gonna make something like that realistically. Or I could be wrong. I'm not gonna lie, cause that's like
yeah.
Awesome.
But back to the question: do you think this is for anybody on the panel? Do you think that a person who is racist should openly
should be right? I don't think a person should be overtly racist at any time. Right, I don't think they should be. I would never encourage racism in the first place, and I would never encourage it either which way, shape, or form. But what I'm saying is when it comes to freedom of speech, right, per se, right, is that it does open up dialogue for people, right? So then we can identify people who are overtly racist, and we can identify those people if they weren't given freedom of speech or freedom of expression. What I'm saying is they become covertly racist. But I don't think there is any place for racism per se. You know what I'm saying? It's not about a place for, I think racism shouldn't exist. But unfortunately, there are racists out there. And how would we know who is and who's not a racist if they are all covert, if they're all covert and they're all hidden and they're not speaking it and they're not saying what they need to say? How would we know? You know, so I think what I'm saying is a bit like you said earlier, there are necessary evils in the world, you know? And sometimes, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it don't, but we do. Like,
oh, watch this though. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit. So, when I asked the question, do you think that a person who's racist should let it be known or keep it to themselves? You started off by saying that they should keep it to themselves. But then at the end of your statement, you asked the question, well, how would we know if they don't say it? See what I'm saying?
No. What I was trying to say, I think if we bring, we brought it back, yeah. So I think what I was trying to say is, when it comes to freedom of speech, right, and it comes to curtailing people and what they can and can't say, and imagine the elephant in the room, like the racist in the room, yeah, the racist in the room. We don't know, imagine there's 100 people in a room, yeah, one of them's racist, right, but nobody's allowed to discuss anything, nobody's allowed to talk and speak openly, so on and so forth, right? How do we know which one of those 100 people is the racist? The only way we can find that out is through discussion, you know? Now, maybe they will hide it, maybe they won't, maybe they'll speak up and they'll say something, maybe they'll slip up.
But what if it is no discussion?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why freedom of speech is so important, because if you cut out a man's tongue and you've got 100 people in a room that can't discuss things, right? Because I'm going back even right to the beginning. This whole thing is about freedom of speech and expression. Right. If there's 100 people in a room and nobody has free speech or expression and they can't speak in their minds, right, then how do we know?
I kind of think about it like when I see some videos of school shooters like saying they finna fucking shoot up a school, and they literally come in what they finna do before they do it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like,
sure. I mean, look, not everyone's going to express whether they're racist or not, right? Not everyone is going to express whether they're racist or not, okay? But what I'm saying is, because of freedom of speech, there are going to be people out there that will willingly express their racist or bigoted thoughts, or whatever, whether it's homophobia, whether it's this, whether it's sexism, whether it's this, that, and the other. I feel
like they don't gotta say it though. They could just show it by action.
Sure, they don't have to. Right, nobody has to. But people don't. Right. Once again, people have the freedom to either express themselves or to stay silent. Yeah, that's the freedom of speech is also the freedom to not say anything. So when I talk about freedom of speech, I'm not saying that people have to speak. I'm saying that the freedom of speech is also the freedom of not saying anything.
Yeah, but
so I get what you're saying.
But how are you going to know if a person is racist or not if they choose not to express it or speak on it?
Well, because we don't. You don't, do we? We don't know it. We don't know it. Exactly. They're the most dangerous people in the world. People that don't say anything, they keep themselves to themselves, they stay silent, they don't express their thoughts and their feelings and opinions, and instead they stay silent, they don't say anything, we don't know that they're racist, and they go ahead and they do something really bad. They're the most dangerous people in the world. That's what I'm trying to say. The least dangerous racist is the one that tells you that they're racist, because at least you know they're freaking racist, for God's sake. Like, the ones that don't say anything are dangerous, man. They're dangerous.
So then wouldn't that be the better alternative for them to let us know?
Yeah. Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. is better.
Now I'm gonna go on a different angle on this. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, yeah, let's go.
Like
let's get it.
now.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go on a
You give
nerd
me some of this Drake
example
real
on
quick.
this, right? He's like, "Hey, bring that tea back."
For real.
But check this out, right? So my thing is this. So like I think in a way, even though most of us don't want to admit it, everybody is just a smidge bit little racist. Just a smidge bit little racist. Not necessarily like racist, like you're the N word hard ER in it, or like or like you're like a cracker or whatever other derogatory term there is and stuff like that. I ain't saying like in that particular way. What I'm saying is like there's like a couple of TV shows that we've all watched now and every now and again, and that's either All in the Family or The Jeffersons. Another good nominee would be
What about Good Times? Yeah, I was just gonna say, oh God,
Good Times. Now, all those shows have been created by the late and great Norman Lear. Now, my thing is this: all of those shows not only have like racist stuff in it, but stereotypes in it as well. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody hate Chris. I feel like
now, not necessarily. Now, those shows are not necessarily put into our head to be like, hey, this is right to say or anything like that. But it's showing us, but it's showing us how things are going either currently or how it was back then. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So my thing as far as the speech part is concerned, I would rather for a person to keep it real with me than to be fake with me. If you're like a hardcore racist and stuff like that, hey, thank you for being real with me. Now I know how to stay away from you.
Right.
But if you're one of those that like you have a conversation and then like you temporarily get mad at each other and then the N word or the C word or whatever type of derogatory word comes out or whatever, like that, like I don't condone it either, but at the same time, like we could come back to each other and be like, hey, look, I'm sorry, I feel very bad about that, my bad, you know what I'm saying? But I think like, as far as the free speech is concerned, like if a racist want to come out and say wherever it is on their mind with all those derogatory terms, they can go ahead and say it. Like, hey, I've been used to it all my life or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I watch shit like I'm a stud, Roots, you name it. it has it all in there. So that's
well. Do you know something? Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if you wanted to say something, but on that point before, it's on the tip of my tongue. One of the people that I'm able to have like banter with the most is my Kenyan friend, Joseph, right? And he's very black, very dark. He came over from Kenya when he was 14 years old, and he's been a very good friend of mine for a very long time. Now, that's not the point. We don't look like we should be paired together. We joke around all the time. We always say things like silly little jokes like, if we were to be pulled over. It's funny because I'm the one, like he's the one that will probably get searched and all that kind of stuff. And it's very funny, kind of friendly. Sorry, it's my friend in the background. It's very friendly kind of banter, but we're not laughing at each other's expense. We're not being racist towards each other in the fact that we've got different skin. In actual fact, what we're doing is we're self-deprecating on each other, on ourselves. So I'm taking the piss out of myself. He's taking the piss out of himself, And what we're doing is we're finding common ground We're finding common ground. So having jokes about like stereotypes and people with different colored skin is fine. It depends on what you're trying to achieve from it and whether you're actually trying to be like nasty. And I think that's what it comes down to. You know, earlier, one last thing quickly, you asked me to say the N-word earlier, which I said. I didn't really want to say it, yeah? But I knew that you asked me, and I wasn't saying it in a very, like, what I would call a deprecating way to anyone. You know what I'm saying? So the point being is, I felt comfortable with this place and the time.
Yeah. I think he was trying to make you say that on like a you know, proving a point type thing. Like, I don't think he was trying to get you to do it on a dare or something or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, sure, I get it.
And that's the thing that I learned like the hard way over the years and stuff like that. Sometimes you have to say things like in a TV show or in a movie to get a point across to say like, hey, we're actually saying these words even though we don't like saying them. Some of them don't like
the
saying
Boondocks,
them, but
the Boondocks.
Perfect example. Oh my goodness! If I had $5 for every time they said the N-word in that shit, I'd be rich.
you remember that episode about the teacher?
Oh my gosh! Oh,
I put you on that shit.
Bro, I wish I could pull that up right now. I swear, but like that. Okay, that so was funny.
Now I have a question. I have a question to the panel. So, if we're in agreement that free speech helps society, right? And it's a good thing that racist people identify themselves because then we can know who they are and where they are and whatever and what they stand for. Do you then think that racism in and of itself is a necessary evil? Because it ties into free speech. It's a part of free speech.
Right. Yeah, I don't see me. I don't think racism is ever gonna go away, no matter how bad we want it to. There's always gonna be that handful that's gonna be like, well, this is the way I'm gonna teach you. We're gonna teach you that white is right and da 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 da. It's always gonna be that handful that's gonna teach them, well, you shouldn't date outside your race or outside your kind or whatever and stuff like that. Like that, there's always going to be that handful that still will pass that on to their children, and they're going to believe as they grow, that's the correct way to go. That's the correct way to go.
When I hear that from people, I just take it as they must be kind of miserable with their lives or something else ain't going on,
right?
That they want to accomplish that they really not achieving, and sometimes they put all that negative energy and all that bullshit on somebody else. Like, y'all see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of like a, what would you call it? It's kind of like a domino effect or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe some other shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but then again, but it begs the question, because if the general sentiment that we all agreed on is that people that are racist need to let it be known, so that way, make themselves known so that we can identify them. If that ties into free speech, which we all agree says help society, and if we understand and agree that you got to be able to learn how to take the bad with the good, then the question still remains, is racism a necessary evil? Because
no. It's not. Racism is definitely not a necessary evil. First of all, racism is a social construct, yeah? This is what I think, yeah? I think it's important for self-preservation. For example, like if everybody goes into a melting pot, we're going to lose black communities and white communities equally. You know what I mean? Everything mixes, and I'm very much of I like to preserve the beauty of everything, When you start cross-mixing everything, it's great. You end up with a mishmash and a mixture, a melting pot, which is great. But I think it's also good and important to preserve Anyway, but the whole point going into this is it's not a necessary evil. It's a social construct. The necessary, what you might call evil, but once again, I don't like calling it evil because I don't think it is evil, would be the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression. That's the necessary bit. The racism in itself is not necessary. In fact, it's far from necessary. In my opinion, it's very damaging to society, but the ability to be able to express yourself is the necessary bit. The ability to be able to express and speak is more necessary than being racist. Racism is not necessary. That's what I think.
Okay, cool. So watch this, because I'm listening to you. Now, if you're saying that you want to preserve the beauty in things, but then you say racism is not evil and it's not necessary, then how do you preserve the beauty in things without just a little bit of racism in it? How do you do that?
Well, because my understanding of racism is a disdain or a hatred towards a particular race, creed, or color, or something like that. It's when you don't like something else to the point where you want to eradicate it. My perspective is it's not racism in order to want every race to be equally as brilliant. That's the opposite of racism. I don't even know if there's a word for it, but it's the opposite is what I'm talking about. Like, it's the lack of hatred. It's more about preserving, like, and looking after things.
Okay. So if you want to preserve something, that means you don't want any other things to mix with it, right?
No, not necessarily. So, for example, like I like to grow plants, tomatoes, yeah? I like the organic heirlooms. I like the ones that are like, different varieties, and I appreciate them and I want to keep them protected. But at the same time, there are some variations that have crossbreeds and so on and so forth. But do you know what is the most valued to me is what I would call the landrace variants, the original ones, the OGs.
Yeah, he said the OG. Okay. I heard that.
Fuck nigga to the end, tell a friend, bitch.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
So let me, because I'm trying to figure out if what you're saying has a bit of consistency or not, because I'm paying attention. Now, it's not like a gotcha or anything like that. I'm just trying to see if the logic is consistent, because in order for you to preserve the beauty in something, that means that you would have to not want anything other than that to come in and mingle with it.
Well, no, this is the point. I believe in something called nations and national borders. So I believe that there are certain countries that they should retain their identity and not have like other mixes going on. I think there are countries like on both, whether they're like black countries, white countries, African countries, European, whatever. But there should also be countries that do allow the melting pot. England and America do allow the melting pot. But I think there are other countries out there that should not allow the melting pot. So they should remain, proud of who they are. Because once the melting pot takes over the entire globe, then everybody loses the OG, like I said, the original versions of everything will just be, gone forever, I suppose. Like, there's no reason why people don't want to protect their ancestral history.
Okay, so then see, this is why I like this type of stuff, because I get to try to understand another person's perspective, right? So if a lot of cultures around the world have the general sentiment of we want to preserve our culture, then is that a component of racism or not? Because
it depends. I think it depends. It depends. It depends on where people are coming from. If you're coming from it like, I want to preserve my culture because I hate everybody else.
Mark, hold on, just real quick. I wanted to add something to that. If we're saying that we want to preserve the culture, that means you would want other cultures to not come in and interfere with it, right? So would you consider that a component of racism, or if not, like what do you call that? You see what I'm saying? Like, because somebody else outside of that will look at that and say, well, if you don't want me to come over there and indulge in what you got going on, then it's racist because you're trying to keep me out.
Well, it depends, because look, we've seen colonialism play out in history, haven't we? We've seen unwanted immigration, right? So there's the difference between what the culture and the country wants, and there's a difference between what is forced upon the population, right? So at the end of the day, it's not about, trying to keep whites and blacks away from people at all whatsoever. I don't really like the idea of segregation. But what I do also not like the idea of is unwanted merging. So there are going to be countries out there that are very proud of the way they are. They don't want that white people going into their country and interfering with their way of life. That's called colonization or colonialism. Likewise, there are going to be, all sorts of different countries that experience the same thing unwanted. I'm not saying that we should keep people apart, right? I don't like the idea of segregation. I do love the idea of a global, like, one world, utopian, whatever. But at the same time, we have to be realistic. People want to keep hold of heritage. I'm sure you probably do. I'm sure that you've probably looked in the past at your cultural ancestry and your heritage and said, you know what, I like that and I want to keep hold of it for whatever reason. Whatever reason people do, it's just part of human nature.
But watch this though, and I follow you on that because what you're saying is true for the most part. But see, I'm a little bit different when it comes to things like that. So the way I think and the way I operate and how I interact with people, and how I forge my friendships and my relationships and things like that, I look at people for who they are, regardless of what they look like on the outside. Because the thing that matters to me is, are you working towards creating a legacy, and does your last name mean something? Right? So if my last name means something, that means I'll be respected among people, whether it's white people, whether it's black people, Asian, Middle Eastern, African, whatever. If my name holds some sort of weight and I have some sort of value system attached to it, 9 times out of 10, people worldwide that have that same mind frame are going to gravitate towards me because of what's up here and what's in here, not what's out here. You see what I'm saying? So in order for a person to get to that type of frame of thinking, that means they have to set aside the color stuff, and it doesn't matter if it mixes or not.
No, absolutely right. Look, fundamentally, we're all the same. Yeah, we all bleed the same color. We're all the same person. We all think the same, so on and so forth. I think what you're misunderstanding, when I'm not really conflating the color of somebody's skin necessarily with something that I would call cultural belief systems and cultural heritage. So when I talk about black or African nations, there are many different countries within Africa. Okay, each one of these countries has their own different set of belief systems. So, you might have Christian countries and you might have Muslim countries, within Africa. Each one of these countries are not, I don't look at this and go, oh, they're just a bunch of black people. I don't go, oh, they're all Africans. I go, no, that guy there is a Kenyan. He's got a fundamental belief system. He grew up in this particular country, this particular culture. Oh, next door, you've got the Nigerians, right? So does that make any sense? So, and then, for example, what I'm talking about is preservation of beliefs, cultures, and authentic roots. I like the idea of authentic roots. At the same time, I like the idea of natural progression as well. So I'm not against people mingling, and I don't judge a person by the color of their skin. I just judge them, like you were trying to say, by the content of their character.
Right. But see, if we're being realists, because I know you're a realist, I'm a realist, and Tizzle Mo and Coley D, well, all of us are realist guys on the panel, right? we have an idea of how we think things should be, how we want things to be, but then the realist in us accepts things as they are,
Yeah.
right? So, being that I accept things in the world as they are, racism has always existed and it always will exist, right? So, being that you have to accept the bad with the good, being that I think evil is necessary in order for us to appreciate good, it logically falls in line with what I've been saying from the very beginning. Now, we don't like it. It's not something to be proud of, but at the same time, I would argue that there's certain aspects of it that we deem to be bad, but then you have people that will say, well, I don't want to mingle with those people because I'm proud of my heritage and where I come from and I don't want to lose that. So to that point, I understand exactly where you're coming from. But from a general perspective, do you think that the majority of society would view that mindset as racist? Or would they look at it and say, oh no, he's just trying to preserve his culture?
No, well, I think it depends because I'm not coming from like a place of segregation. Like I said before, I don't agree with what I would call segregation, especially in Western countries. Okay, these are the countries where I agree people they like to move to. We've got the melting pot, like I said before, right? And people, I think, should, if they can, like obviously we've got like different laws when it comes to migration and so on and so forth. You know, if people want to seek that kind of lifestyle, then, you know, it depends on what a person wants. But what I really want to be able to do is to, rather than encouraging people to want to have to migrate to one of these countries because they're like impoverished, I'd much rather see them being, you know, doing well for themselves, you know, and I'm not talking about segregation at all whatsoever. So yeah, some people can conflate what I'm saying with the concept of racism and segregation, but I don't think that's the point at all. Like if I see a dandelion, yeah, I see the beauty in a dandelion. If I see a daisy, I see the beauty in the daisy. If I crossbreed the two, I see the beauty in what has been crossbred. But that doesn't diminish the fact that I want to protect the dandelion for what it is and the daisy for what it is. You see what I'm saying? I want to protect the two.
Oh no, I understand exactly what you're saying. But watch this
Right.
though, because you're not wrong. Like you're not wrong by any stretch of the imagination. But watch this though.
Okay.
Do you think that the majority of society, like worldwide, would look at that the way you do?
No, absolutely not. I think I'm quite. I think quite differently to a lot of people.
Right. Because check this out. Contrary to popular belief, at least in the West, there's this general consensus or there's this general idea that white people are the most racist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you really study people in society and cultures, you come to find that it's typically Indian people and Asian people that tend to be the most racist.
Okay. I don't know the stats, but yeah.
Right. Well, just look at the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at Asian culture, like your Chinas, your Japans, your Mongolias, all those countries like Nepal and all that, Bangladesh and everything, they have a really deep-rooted and strong sense of culture, right? They have a very strong sense of culture. And so if you look at people from India as well, they don't really mix like that. Like with their kids, they want their kids to only date Indian and only marry Indian. And I'm cool with that. And I'm cool with that. You know why? Because that's a form of free speech and that's a form of freedom of expression. Right? I'm cool with that. But I also look at it on the flip side and I say, okay, well, to the people that are okay with being open to dating out or whatever, that all ties into the concept of free speech and freedom of expression. So to tie it all together, whether you support dating around or whatever, or learning other cultures and stuff like that, that's still freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And if you choose to preserve what you deem valuable, that's still a form of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. So if if I'm being logically consistent and saying that I have to take the bad with the good, that means racism, by my logic, is necessary.
Okay, look, I think I like what you're saying. I kind of agree with you. I just think that we both have different ways of like seeing it. I just don't like the way that you say racism is necessary. Other than that, I agree with everything that you said. Anyway, I'm going to let someone else have a turn to speak because I do talk a lot, and I'm going to have to get off. I'm going to have to get off very soon. It's been a long one.
Whenever you want to drop out and call it a night, just let us know, and then you'll be all right. But we got an additional panelist. We got an additional panelist that just joined the stream. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Hey guys, good afternoon. My name is Christian. I've known Charles from high school, I believe.
No, we went to middle school, bro.
Oh, middle school. I'm sorry. It's really hot outside.
No, we went to middle school together, and more specifically, we used to trade games. And you let me borrow that Battle Tanks game, and I let you borrow my Siphon Filter 2 game.
Yeah, and that's the main reason I got obsessed with tanks.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But yeah, you came in kind of late to the stream. Like we're on the main event topic, which is the title of the show, and it's free speech. Does it help or harm society? So we've pretty much given a general amount of perspective, but since you're here, we're gonna go ahead and let you get the floor uninterrupted. Go ahead and give your thoughts on it. What you think? What you got?
Okay. No, your clothes are in the back, son. Sorry. We got back from the pool.
Oh no, you good. You good.
I think with today's how things are transitioning, especially with the youth who seem, to follow everything that's trending. They feel like they want to blend. I think it's not like mostly Mandejo. Here, you take these, put them on. I think it's mostly how they're raised at home. You know what I mean? Because for example, I saw a Facebook post that this lady said that her son he identifies as a girl because her sister's children identified as a girl, and everyone she knows has a child that identifies as a girl, but they're I feel like everything, it starts at home. Morals, the idea, the foundation as a family. Because no matter what you say to them, they would already been bestowed on them at home. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I've noticed that they get triggered real quick, and I'm not up to date sometimes with the words they use.
Right.
I think they don't really express their freedom of speech, because it feels like parents too want to be part of it. They don't want to feel like they're left behind. And the main thing is they don't understand. We're not trying to be their friends. We're trying to educate them. We're trying to make them feel that, you know, not wait for them to turn 18 and kick them out or they're on your own, like to actually um, show them the basics, to be able to express their feelings, to be able to communicate. And it feels like um, most of them don't don't have a, you know, like freedom to speak, to be able to express how they feel, to interact with their emotions. Everything is what they see on media. Everything is, either you're with us or you're against us, or if you say something that doesn't abide them, they'll get you canceled on certain things like that. I don't think they really understand, the power of words. Like they can actually make a difference just to be able to say, I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to think like this, to express myself.
Okay, so then let me ask you a question, and this is to the entire panel, and anybody can chime in on this. So, do you think that there's an agenda or a powers that be that are trying to warp and or take away the power that comes with free speech?
Yes, give me a minute.
Okay,
Well,
what do
of
you got? What
course,
do you got to say
I
about
believe there's an agenda. I mean, ever since Biden got in power, became president, I feel like everything got, trying to make men be less masculine,
that? Uh oh.
make everyone so fragile. You know
Uh
what I
oh.
The
mean?
emasculation, yeah,
Uh oh.
emasculation.
And,
Interesting.
like recently, again, I mentioned Facebook a lot because that's either Instagram or Facebook for me, and how they're removing, the pride flag from certain, streets like in Florida, the taking down the flags, and how the president's doing to remove any content, that it's harmful for children for school. I believe he was trying to defund certain schools. They were trying to promote it. It's like I said, it starts at home.
Ah, man, I could talk about this again. You see, the way that I would approach this is, first and foremost, is you're a parent, yeah, and a parent's first responsibility is to be there for their children, no matter what, to be there for them, whether they agree with their lifestyle or not, right? So it's all about empathy and compassion and being there. That is the first and foremost. But when it comes to this whole type of thing going on with people being, within the education system, I think the education system is playing a crucial role at the moment where, they are not just allowing people to express themselves, but they're actively and openly pushing certain lifestyles on the younger minds. And that's the problem we're seeing. And unfortunately, young people are very easily manipulated and molded to, adult like influence, and especially within the education systems. And I think we've got the power of free speech to challenge, our leaders, to hold them to account and to hold them responsibility. If we want to see our children protected, and in any which way, shape, or form, then the way to do it is through parliamentary processes, through what do we call it, democracy, but holding our leaders to account. Now, I'm not saying that being trans is a good or bad thing, or right or wrong thing, but what I am saying is that we have a responsibility to ensure that we lead them in the right direction, but ultimately act in a way of empathy and compassion and be there, because look, too many families are being destroyed right now and separated, and I do think there is an agenda. I think there is a communist agenda, a Marxist, and I think there's it comes down to communism. You can check out the 45 communist goals. They want to dismantle the basic family structure, and I think that the only way we can do it is just to be there. Sorry, that's I had to say that.
Oh, it's okay.
All right. Coley, Chisholm, what y'all got?
Can you refresh me of the question?
Okay. So basically what I was saying was, do you think that there's an agenda or powers that be that are pushing a certain agenda to take away the power that comes from us having free speech?
Okay. Now,
because all of us agree so far that free speech, it helps society and is necessary, right?
Yeah,
so do you think that there's an agenda or powers that be that are working overtime to try to either restrict or strip that freedom of speech away from us?
I ain't gonna lie, Christian made a valid point earlier.
Yeah, when he brought up social media,
yes,
I gotta give it to him.
because social media, right, is the biggest influencer there is. Like it, like like before social media, like we was following trends, but it'll be simple trends like hula hoops or or like or for those who want to really go crazy, like do mohawks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like nowadays, but like nowadays, like people are just doing the most absolute craziest stuff. Like any type of challenge they'll come up with. Some of them was silly, like the cinnamon challenge, or like light your cell phone fire with the alcohol challenge or whatever. Now you got
Be
people. Now you
challenges
got
that fuck up your relationships, or it be challenges that be fucking up your life.
Yep.
mm, there this one video prime example. Like it was saying, they'll watch a video of a really Coca-Cola looking girl holding a baby or whatever and stuff like that. And then they cut away to a guy asking what color jumper was the baby wearing. Can't
Oh
answer it
yeah.
because you know
Just like you
what I'm
weren't
saying?
looking at it in the first place.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
like
Yo, sorry to keep butting in, yeah, but I want to get really to the point. I think that there's a paper trail. I think the World Economic Forum, yeah, are very responsible, and I think the European Union at the moment are very responsible for the curtailing when it comes to new legislation here in the UK, right? The European Court of Human Rights, yeah, very much curtailing freedom of speech and freedom of expression over here in the UK. And I think that they're funded by the likes of George Soros. I'm sorry if I sound like a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but, you know, I do think that we can pinpoint. And Bill Gates as well.
Hey, sir, Mr. Mark Fowler, I know exactly where you're going with that. And hey, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that is involving a certain group of people.
Of
Right. Do you realise, right, over here in the UK, right, over here in the UK, we're seeing something like 12,000 people being arrested a year for like what we call like violate, like, you know, non-crime hate incidences, you know, sending out a post or a Twitter and so on and so forth. And I've looked into this. I'm like, where is this coming from? Why are the police here in the UK acting like the Gestapo from back in Nazi Germany? Why are they acting and behaving this way? And I've realized because we are still, right, part of the European Union. In a way, even though we voted to leave, we're still attached to the European Court of Human Rights. Okay, now they are messing around with this whole idea of free speech, and they're deliberately, I think, trying to, you know, enact. Man, it's very difficult to explain. You know, 30 people arrested daily for tweets that people may take like offense to. So imagine I say something today, right, on this podcast, and somebody watches it and decides, do you know what, I know who he is. I'm going to report him because he said something that I didn't like. He said something offensive. I could receive a knock at the door living here in the UK because of my participation. So it means that we're having to walk on tender eggshells. And it's all to do with the Human Rights Act of 1998, established by the European Court of Human Rights. And now that we're trying to leave Europe, we need to establish our own English Court of Human Rights, something that is very much aligned with the American Constitution. But we need to keep a lot of... it becomes so difficult, man. But I blame George Soros and I blame Bill Gates a lot, and the World Economic Forum. I blame them a lot.
Oh damn, he went to Bill Gates.
Bill Gallagate.
Hey, the more you talk, the more I like you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Hey,
yo, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, I get what you're saying, but to a lot of other people, they don't know what you're talking about, and it's gonna sound crazy. But me, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, I know exactly what he's talking about. And see, one of the reasons why I wanted to have this panel and have this discussion is because what we're starting to see, at least in our part of the world, in the Western world, the very rights and freedoms that we enjoy, you have a demographic of people that appreciate it, we love it, we honor it, and we cherish it, and we're willing to die to not only defend, but we're willing to die in order for other people to at least get a taste of it. Right?
You know what the crazy thing is? We was all warned. We was all warned about this, but we didn't have to pay attention. We didn't pay attention to it. It was right under our noses and stuff like that. Or some people were told it, or we were told this, but we didn't want to believe it. And then when we see it happening in front of our eyes, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. Duh. Because it was already, because we was already warned about it a long time ago.
Yeah. But see, not only that, you gotta remember something too. I've been logically consistent when I say that we have to be able to take the bad with the good, right? So as good as it is for people to at least be awake and paying attention to what's going on, it's also necessary for people to still be dumb and not paying attention, right? Because if we didn't have dumb people, then the information that's out there wouldn't be as valuable. Does that make sense? We wouldn't appreciate the information if there wasn't for stupid people existing. See, everything I'm saying, it ties back to my original point that you have to be able to take the bad with the good, right? So with that being said, what you're talking about, I believe, and I think that it's here we go. I think that it's a necessary evil. And the reason why I think that it's a necessary evil is because you need stupid people in order for a certain demographic of the world to appreciate the smart ones. That's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. Like even in school, you have to have people that don't graduate. Everybody can't graduate, just like everybody can't fail, right?
Bro, have you ever seen the laws of the Hermes, the 7 Hermetic principles? So you're talking very much like yin and yang, opposites, like light and dark, up and down, so on and so forth. There are 7 Hermetic principles. You've got something like the laws of polarization. You've got like, as above, so below. You've got like the laws of vibration. You got the laws of gender. You got the laws. So there are 7 Hermetic principles. Everything that you're talking about right now resonates very much with Hermes Trismegistus. You should look it up, bro, because you'll be mind blown. Because you're talking literally as if you're like Hermes, the ancient Greek god.
Hey, but you want to know something that's kind of funny? I'll give you a little bit of irony, right? It's funny that you bring that up because me and Coley, we're both Virgos.
That's true.
Right?
True.
And so when you look at like the astrology aspect of it, our planet is Mercury.
Okay.
On the Greek side. But on the Roman side, who is it? It's Hermes.
What about other
right? You need to go down that rabbit hole, man. Just go down the rabbit hole of Hermes Trismegistus, and you'll be glad.
Well, because if you think about it, according to that, Hermes was the messenger. Hermes represents the messenger, and Hermes also represents communication. So, me personally, this is why I love communicating, having conversations, sharing ideas, letting things out, and then exchanging ideas, having genuine conversations. Because for me, that's how I'm able to connect with a lot of people. Even if I disagree with you, or even if you may not like me, I'm under the firm belief that there's nothing that a conversation can't fix. Now, if there's going to be people that disagree with that statement, but I would challenge anybody to prove that statement wrong. Not you guys on the panel, but I'm just saying, like,
anyone watching,
to the people that would disagree with that statement, that there's nothing that a conversation can't fix. And see, in order for you to have that conversation, in order to inspire change, you have to be able to exercise free speech with no restrictions. See what I'm saying? So everything I'm saying,
Right.
it stays connected. But that's what I got. So, brother Christian, you want to go ahead and throw in some more thoughts?
Oh, of course. This one's for Mark. I think it's been like what, almost close to a decade since England has been talking about separation from the European Union. Um, this whole thing with freedom of speech, and the West hasn't inspired most of the world. But I feel like being an old continent, you know what I mean, like Spain, France. What is it? A couple years, France pushed the age of retirement, and it went nuts. It's um, it felt like if we were to withdraw from the European Union, I don't know how are the feelings of the Irish and Wales, um, and then with everything right now with mass immigrations, like Middle Easterns and North Africans, you let in the third world, you become the third world. You know what I mean? So I don't think they'll ever get to that point because it's becoming like America, where you can't complain or you can't say something because, of course, like you said, you'll get canceled. They'll target you. They'll say this, and I've seen all these uh, people doing riots. They're marching against people that are promoting Palestinian. Like their lives matter. Of course, their lives matter. Like Australia, they stood up and they started taking down the flags of other countries. I believe northern countries in Europe as well. Mandijo. Well, give me a minute. I believe that that's what they really need now too. Stop being afraid to not say anything that would make other minorities feel uncomfortable because at the end of the day, like especially in England, I know there's certain groups, they'll go to parks and then they'll tell women, oh, you can't wear certain clothing just because they're not Muslim. You know what I mean? Or like Charles was mentioning earlier, how Hindus only have marriages with them, the elite class, or, they want to, because it's a culture thing. And that's what one of the
Sure.
things I noticed that Europe lost that. Europe, um, uh, the whole blood and honor, trying to stay consistent with, your roots, where your ancestors. My great great grandfather, he fought under the Spanish Blue Division, fighting the Russians under, Hitler, um, fighting communism. And at the end, they all got, you know, they were wiped out. But he did it because he believed, you know, everybody should be in their own place of origin to be able to raise your children, based on how the country was built. Like, of course, Spain is a Catholic country, and values, family,
Sure,
blood.
sure, sure. Hang on, can I intervene? Can I intervene then? Because there's a lot to dissect. Yeah, a lot to dissect. So once again, I'm not a fan of the concept of segregation, right? As a whole, although we discussed that earlier in an earlier segment, the whole concept of segregation and cultural identity. Now, I believe that, right? I would call myself a cultural nationalist. I like the concept of borders, closed borders. Okay, so I think that's an important factor to bring into the conversation. Now, the problem with the concept and the idea of Brexit, okay, and the European Union over here in the UK is very, very split. So there became a massive cultural divide, almost as if we were divided into two parts, almost like left wing versus right wing. And so this created a lot of friction over here in the UK. And, there are people like myself. Personally, at the beginning, I didn't really care. I said to myself, whatever the majority vote was, should be, because I believe in the democracy. Unfortunately, there are still people that hold on to the fact that they're bitter, they're resentful, because they didn't want us to move away from Europe. Okay, it's a difficult thing to dissect. Okay, very difficult thing to dissect. Now, when it comes to the concept of immigration over here, you know, I don't know if you saw the Tommy Robinson protest recently. There are like 3 million people that attended that protest, the biggest protest in history. And, you know, there will be the mainstream media demonizing people as being far right wing. They will demonize them as being racist, inherently racist, you know, as if being a patriot is inherently racist. I don't think it is. I think that they conflate things. They conflate patriotism with racism. Look, I could go on about this for hours and hours and hours. There's so much to dissect in what you asked. But at the end of the day, we're also worried about the concept of Sharia law coming into the UK. Because, you know, Sharia law is what you might call a form of ideology. I wouldn't call it a religion. Like Islamism, personally, from what I understand, Islam is not a religion. It's more of an ideology, and we don't want it to impose into the Western law, because then that's when we're really going to see the silencing of people. You know, my understanding, and I'm not here to be picking up on any creed or culture. I'm not here to say that Muslims are Islamists, but an Islamist is certainly an Islamist, and that's what we're worried about over here in the UK.
Hey, you don't have to try to tiptoe around anything, bro. Like I said, when I went over the rules for the panel, look, this is a no censorship space. This is a free speech panel. I'm not gonna mute y'all. I'm not gonna censor nothing y'all say. Whatever thoughts or perspectives y'all have, this is the platform. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, whether we agree or disagree. We are practicing our First Amendment right, which is free speech, and we all agreed earlier that it helps society. So let's continue to enjoy it.
That's what I love about this.
Whatever perspective you got, Mark, you don't have to try to tiptoe around it. You don't got to sugarcoat it. Live up to your
bro. People tell that to me all the time, and I try to explain to people, no, that's just the way I am. I am actually very politically correct in the way that I express myself, yeah, and that is the way that I am. And I suppose I am a product. If we think about it, I am a product of political correctness. Over here in the UK, we are very like the way that I articulate myself. That I choose to do it. I can be as vulgar as I like, to be honest, and I am, you know, around the right types of people. So I speak differently around my mates, you know, than I would here, because this is a podcast. So I think, like, when you're on a podcast, you know, you don't need to go dropping F-bombs left, right, and center. Also, that's going to mess up the algorithms, because it ain't me. It's YouTube that's going to punish you, not me.
Yeah, I understand that, but see, watch this though. No, you're absolutely right, but watch this though. Part of us being able to exercise the free speech is learning to appreciate the gift that we have, right? Because over in America, over in the United States of America, this is a God-given right. It's not a privilege, right? As a part of our constitutional document, if you're born into it, you get that automatically. It's automatic. It's automatic, right? So the fact that we have free speech and we have a constitutional document that guarantees certain rights and privileges to us from day one, this ain't something where you have to work 90 days and you got to go through a probation period and then you get the full benefits. No, you get the full benefits from the jump. And because of that, I would argue that, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I would make the argument that the United States has very unique privileges and systems that other countries wish they had, which is why so many people want to come here.
Can I just say a lot of English people over here, right? They really resent America. Yeah, I know a lot of people around here. They don't really understand America. They don't understand it proper.
Yeah.
But the way I understand it is, I love your American Constitution. I do. I actually do. I understand it a lot better than a lot of other people over here in the UK. And in actual fact, I really appreciate your First Amendment, your right to free speech. I think it's a lot more basic than what we've got over here in the UK. We've got too much, like, what I would call muddied waters. People can't, like, we don't know where we're coming.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Shout out to Mark Fowler.
But that's what happens on live TV.
Yep.
But yeah, I will say this on the side tangent. I do have another friend of mine who's from the UK. Shout out to Rizwan Shabani if you're watching. He not only he loves the way our Constitution is, he also very, 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 very loves the Fifth Amendment. I don't know what amendment it is, but it's the right to bear arms, because over there in the UK, guns are banned. When he came over to move to North Carolina, whatever, he absolutely loves the fact that guns are widely available. So, but yeah, he loves it here better in America, despite what's currently going on, than rather being in the UK. And I thought that was very interesting that he told me that he had told me this. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. Chisholm, what you got, bro?
Yeah, broski, you're on.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is, because like the original question was, do you think that there's an agenda or powers that be that are trying to take away or restrict the free speech that we have? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like in a certain way, but I don't think I can really explain it fully. I feel like it's 50-50, like in between.
So you think that there's a 50% chance that there is an agenda at play, and then you also say that there's a 50% chance that it's not.
Yeah, I say it is because I feel like some people contribute to it, if that makes sense.
Okay. So then let me ask you this then. So let's run with what you say that is 50-50, right? If I took a coin and flipped it 100 times, how many times do you think it would land on heads versus tails?
This sounds like statistics class.
If I flipped a coin 100 times, do you think that it would land on heads 50 times and tails 50 times? Or which one do you think it will land on more?
It's a good question. 50-50. Anyway, can I just say quickly, I have to go. By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. My battery died. I want to say quickly before anything, like I want to I appreciate like the the platform that you've allowed me to speak on, and I want to say thank you very much. And I hope you all have a really good future when it comes to your free speech and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, but before you drop off, hey, look, you're always welcome to come back. Anytime I have a panel, I'm gonna extend the olive branch to you guys. I'm gonna make sure you guys get first dibs to come on the platform to share your thoughts and opinions, because I'm a huge supporter and believer and lover of the free speech, which is why I wanted to host this live stream, because of what basically because of the events that have been taking place. And I think that people need to really start coming together and really trying to get to the point where they're on one accord about what our beliefs are and how we can make things better. And I think stuff like this is necessary. So I want to give a big shout out to Mark Fowler.
Thank you.
Hey, and
thank you very much. Thank you. Peace out.
Hey, before you go, let the people know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I'm not really here. Like, I don't big myself up majorly online. You know, I keep myself to myself for the most part. But you can always search up Nova Bear. I've got my own little projects going on. You know, like I do crypto stuff, but that's that's a whole nother thing,
Yeah,
bro.
well, that
Thank you
link,
very much. Yeah.
that link that you gave me, I got it in the description of the video.
Oh yeah, and also just read up on that link because that's interesting. It's all about fifth generation warfare. There's a lot that I could have discussed today that I couldn't get off my chest because I could be talking forever.
Right.
But check out that link in the the description, and that will give you an idea of what we're dealing with today.
Boom.
Take it easy, everyone. Thank you. Thanks again.
All right.
Have a good day.
How do I log out? How do I log out?
No, I got you. I got you.
I have to go as well, Charles.
Cool.
I gotta get my kid ready for bed. I'm sorry that I was late.
Oh no, it's all right, man. Like I told you earlier, man. Hey, make that money. Make sure you take care of everything you need to take care of, because you know the family comes first, bro. The family always comes first. But yeah, I'm gonna be hosting a panel next Sunday too. I'll go into it in a little bit before we close out. But yeah, I'm glad you were able to pull up. Like I told you earlier, I know you had stuff to do, but I told you that I was gonna give you the link anyway. That way, if you decide you wanted to pull up, just even if it's for 30, 45 minutes, hey, you still showed up. You see what I'm saying?
Thank
You
you.
still able to show up and give your thoughts and perspectives. And I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy, man.
Hey.
You have a good evening, gentlemen.
All right, you take it easy, brother.
You too, man.
Yeah, we'll see you
Goodbye.
next time. All right. But yeah, so back to what I was asking you, because you're saying that you think it's 50-50, which that's fair. That's fair. But if I took a coin and flipped it 100 times, which side do you think would land more? Heads or tails?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like it'd probably be heads, but it'll still be 50-50. Like, you never know. Like, it's 25%. I feel like
25% what? That there's
it's
an
a
agenda,
chance.
or that there isn't an agenda?
Wait, say that again.
Do you think that it's 25% that there is an agenda to restrict free speech, or there's not an agenda to restrict free speech?
I'll probably say the first one.
That there's 25% that there is an agenda to restrict free speech.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you lean more towards the side of there really isn't a threat on free speech, that we're all right.
I mean, it's still wrong with that. I mean, Jay.
Well, well, I'm asking because given the content that we reacted to earlier, and being that people are losing their jobs and getting their shows pulled off of TV because of things they're saying, then that kind of shows that there's some sort of agenda that's making this.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, people only want you to know what they only want you to know. I'm gonna just leave it like that. Like for them, like it's so much shit. Oh, Donald Trump, that some people don't even know about, that he hiding. Like, literally, I don't even see why the reason why they canceled and fired Jimmy Kimmel in the first place. I think they bogus as hell, really, to be honest, in my opinion. But they just really showed a video of Donald Trump before asking him, like, what did he think about Charlie Kirk and his passing, and he acted like didn't even shit happen. He talked about something else, and they literally canceled him for that. I'm like, how? Like,
yeah, but see, going back to what Mark was saying earlier. Yeah, we have a right to free speech, but we also have a right to practice silence as well. So I don't think that a person should necessarily be penalized for practicing their right to silence, because we do have an amendment for that. It's called the right to remain silent.
Right, exactly.
See what I'm saying? So look, even in our own constitution, there's that balance. You have the right to the freedom of speech, freedom to peacefully assemble, freedom of the press, freedom of religion and all that, right? That's all part of the First Amendment. but then you also have the Fifth Amendment, which is the right to remain silent. You see what I'm saying? So even
Yes,
in our
sir.
own, even in our own Constitution, there's a balance that comes with that power. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
in my personal opinion, I think I may have touched on it a little bit, but I think there is an agenda and some plays being made to try to limit our free speech and restrict it. And Christian, he gave a good example of that with the censorship that was going on social media.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
because like it's getting to it's getting to the point to where like there's certain everyday words that we normally we normally can say right on YouTube or on Facebook. I mean, like normal everyday words like we can say gun, like gun, kill, murder, rape, whatever. Like
Right.
we say, like we could say those are everyday words that we normally say, and it's not offensive, but you see it on Facebook, TikTok, wherever, where those words are being bleeped out, and I'm like, why are we bleeping these words out?
Yeah. Yeah. But you got to think about it though. If we're starting to see that more and more, then it begs the question: why are they making regular everyday words in the dictionary seem like they shouldn't be used? They're trying to discourage you from using it because me personally, I think that there's some sort of agenda going on to manipulate the people into not appreciating their God-given freedom of speech.
Exactly.
Instead of them forcing it and taking it away from you, it's better for them to get you to hate it so you can willingly give it up.
Yep.
Because if you willingly give it up and the people say, "Oh, you don't want it anymore," all right, cool. Then they could do whatever they want to do, and then when you end up in a situation, you can't complain because it's like, well, you said you didn't want it. You can't complain about not having it because you willingly gave it up. You see what I'm saying? So that's
Right.
that's kind of why I wanted to have this discussion and ask the question: does free speech help or harm society? And like my general sentiment on it is that I think it helps society. I think it's necessary because we were born with the ability to communicate, whether verbal or nonverbal. We were born with it. And I don't think that no man, woman, bird, fish, whatever has the right to take it away. That's my general sentiments on it.
Exactly.
What do you think about that? Tizzle Mo, what you think?
That I ain't gonna lie, that sounded about right.
Yeah, I mean,
I pretty much agree with you.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And the reason I know it's true is because, like I said earlier, there's people from all over the world that are born into their cultures that have their languages and whatever, right? But for some odd reason, they look over here and they say, man, you know what? My culture's good and everything, but over here, it just ain't enough. I want to go over there and get a taste of a little bit more and see what they got to offer. So that's why I like the idea of us having free speech and having a constitution with a set of amendments and laws that govern our land, because it gives us something that makes us unique compared to other countries. And I'll give you another example of how we're unique. We're one of the few countries that uses the customary system. Everybody else uses the metric system.
True.
Everybody else uses centimeters, meters, kilometers, and all that, kilograms. Yeah, they use all that all around the world. But over here and maybe like two other countries, they use inches, feet, gallons, ounces. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that we have a lot of privilege, a lot of blessings. And I'm not even talking about like skin color or anything, just as a culture, like American culture. I think that we are very gifted. I think that we're very talented. I think that we're a very blessed nation. However, I think that there's a concentrated effort and powers that be that want to manipulate us into hating what we have. You see what I'm saying?
That's a word right there.
That's what you're saying.
I mean,
That's a
what
word.
like what do you think about that, Coley?
Yeah, that's an absolute word right there, because it's like it don't it don't matter, how we stress ourselves. It's like we always somehow getting censored, no matter what we say, no matter what we do, and and it sucks. We shouldn't be we shouldn't be treated like this. We should be able to do or say whatever we want, however we want, and that's just the way I see things.
Hey, I'm with you on that 100%, man. All right. So if you still on the live stream with us, make sure you get a video a like, man. If you just now entering the stream, also make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and we're having ourselves a good time, man. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, we've been at this thing for about
Man,
a little over
3 hours and 39 minutes
little
and
over
14 seconds.
Yep, little over 3.5 hours, man. So, I mean, y'all did a good job on the panel, man. So yeah,
hey,
we're gonna go ahead.
appreciate you.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap this thing up. But you guys got any final thoughts before we close it out? What you got, Chisel Mode?
I ain't really got no thoughts, to be honest. I
All
feel
right.
like
Okay. Well, how about this? What are your last thoughts on the show? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Did you have a good time? Did you wish you weren't here? Like, what's up?
oh no. No, I didn't say that. My bad. I'm just a little bit tired.
No. You
So,
good. You good. I just
but
want to get your general sentiments. That's all.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. It was chill as hell.
All right.
Definitely like to join again if possible.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna have you. I'm definitely gonna have you back, bro. But before we get up out of here, Mr. Tizzle, where can the people find you, man?
They can find me on YouTube. It is at Tizzle Mode. They got a AI picture of a motherfucker that look like probably like from Dragon Ball Z. He got on like a black attire. Yeah, I make beats on there and stuff. Sometimes I upload gameplay of me like playing like PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 3, Wii games, etc. I used to do reaction videos. I'm probably gonna start going back to doing that once soon, bro.
Oh, you right. Hey, you right in my lane. Yeah, you right in my lane because that's what I do.
For real. They can pretty much find my other info in my channel, like in my info over my account. But yeah, that I guess TikTok. They be on TikTok. I think it's Tizzle Mode the God. I think that's what it is.
Okay. Cool. All right. Mr. Coley D. Last thoughts on the show. Did you hate it? Love it? How was the show for you, brother?
Ain't gonna lie. I love the show. It was it was a great experience. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned a lot. I learned a lot of new things or whatnot that I didn't even know that I didn't even know like existed or what's currently going on or whatever. Like
right.
And the guest was dope. All the guests were dope. You know what I'm saying? Like and you and like I said before. I said this off camera, but I'm gonna say it on camera. It's an absolute thrill working with you again. Being that we haven't worked together in like a long time. Like I said, the last time we did something together was like I helped you shoot a music video and stuff like that. But that was like years ago. But
yeah.
But it's absolutely awesome to work with you again, and I definitely want to be on the next one whenever y'all do have a next one. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So,
my next panel. Well, I'm glad you say that because my next panel is gonna be next Sunday.
Hey,
I'm gonna do my next.
Have you checked out Coley Beast too?
You said what? Oh
I said, if you checked out Carly D's too.
Yeah. My bad. Yeah. Thank you for holding me accountable.
Uh-huh.
I'm over here tripping. I got to give myself one of these.
Stupid.
Oh no, you okay? No. If you have it, his beats good as hell. For real.
You said what?
I said his beats good as hell. Him and Jaron's.
Yes, sir. Nah, but yeah. Before I let you go, Mr. Coley, where can the people find you, bro?
Oh yeah, y'all can definitely find me on YouTube. Search up my studio name, Coley D Studios. Like I do anything on there like Coley D Gaming. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to be releasing. I'm supposed to be doing a season 3 of Coley D Gaming with the new release of the Sonic Racing game that's coming out week.
Yes, sir.
For those who ain't pre-ordered yet, you better go ahead and pre-order it before you miss out on your extra dips and D's and all that perks you're gonna get. So please pre-order that. But yeah, I do that. I do sometimes I do music videos of other people, that dance videos, all sorts of stuff, even vlogs. So please sub to Coley D Studios. You know what I'm saying? I even do collabs. So hey, y'all want to hit me up? Hey, let me know. Just saying.
Hey, for real. Hey, me too. I also do collabs as well on the beats, like on samples. Like, if y'all want to do that or whatever, just let me know.
All right. Okay, man. We about to close this thing out, but if you still watching, we're gonna have another live panel next Sunday around the same time, and the topic for next week is going to be Cardi B and Stephon Diggs.
Oh Lord,
I got Cardi B and Stephon Diggs. I gotta look this shit up.
Yep. Is it long-term love or is it short-term rebound?
Hey, make sure you DM me that too, so I won't forget. I'll definitely look up on that.
Yeah, I got to do some digging on that because
y'all got a week. Y'all got a week. Yep, because the panel's gonna be next Sunday around the same time. Y'all got a week to do y'all's research on it, but this is what the next topic is gonna be because I got a lot to say about it. I got a lot to say, but I'm definitely gonna have all you guys back on next week. Just make sure you're free. Set aside some time, and yeah, we're gonna have ourselves another good time. So with that being said, if you like the stream, you like the video, you like the panelists, make sure you get a video a like.
Yes, sir.
Share with a couple of y'all's friends. Make sure you follow everybody on all their social media sites. And if you got something specific that you want to talk about or add to the conversation, make sure you drop it in the chat. Whenever you're back on the stream, hold on. We got some chats. Let's go.
Oh, that's me chats before you get out of here, huh?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mark. He said, I want to add friend requests. Okay, we got you, bro. We got you, brother. Yeah, we got you. I'm going to make sure that I get you guys' information and I'll pass it on to them so that way we could all stay in touch. We could all stay connected and we can keep coming back and doing these panels. But yeah, hey, y'all got anything else before I close it out?
Oh, no, that's it. So go Panthers.
I'm thinking about making another beat, to be honest. Keep it honest with you.
Hey, we'll keep that creativity going. I know y'all kind of tired. Yeah, it's about to be 8 o'clock over here where I am. So
yeah, it's about to be for me too.
But yeah, y'all make sure y'all tune in. If you're still watching, y'all make sure y'all tune in to the panel next week around 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you locking in. Make sure you keeping in touch with us. And yeah, we're gonna have a good and deep, honest conversation.
Hey, wait, hold on. I just forgot about something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember when you said you were a Tekken fan. Definitely go on my channel, hit that choose a character beat I made. You that might fuck with it.
Oh, you know what? Hold on, real quick.
Oh, he's about to get ready to do it. Oh, wait. Oh, snap! You got the classic.
Yeah. Oh, I think. But which one that go? Which one that go? Dun 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 dun. Is that 2 or 1?
Oh, that was
Is it
so
three?
now you showing 3.
It's that one is 3. Okay, if that's the sample, that's the one I did. That joint go hard. You might fuck with it. I did it like 2 versions. I did like 2 ways.
Look, now watch this. I can prove to you how much of a Tekken fan I am, right?
Oh snap!
My favorite character, martial law, all day.
Yeah, he's one of my mains. I main
He
Yoshi.
look like a martial
Okay.
I main Yoshimitsu too.
Damn. Yo, see, okay, he good. I ain't gonna lie. I thought you was gonna say Eddie Gordo for a minute.
Nah.
No,
I
that's
mean,
me.
I could get good with him if I really want to, but he's kind of like, to me, he's kind of like a spam character, like a person.
Wait, what?
Eddie Gordo's a spam character.
I think Lars is a spam character. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No more of a spam character than Lucky Chloe is.
Lucky Chloe.
Okay.
Ain't she the like the robot?
No,
that's not her.
Probably thinking of Lily.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm thinking, damn, I gotta see how she look again. It's been a minute.
Who?
I only know like the OG characters.
Hey, but I got a challenge for you, Chisel Mode. So
Okay.
to prove how much of a Tekken fan I am, watch this live stream back and tell me what you notice about the intro. I'm gonna leave it at that. But anyway, chat people, if you're still watching, y'all make sure y'all tune in to the stream next week. Yeah, make sure you tune into the stream next week around 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Guys, it was good having you on the panel. We're gonna make sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I have you guys back. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and close this thing out. All right, y'all take it easy, man.
All right.
All
Yes,
right.
sir. You too.
All right, peace.
Peace, y'all.